my camera. On my camera.
So we might be doing this for the first time. The game has been on TV, right? Without sound, most of our games. Okay, you were the next call. Is that next show?
Is he or no? Yeah, well, I know a little bit about this.
Most appropriate or something.
Come on, Owen, do another one.
Can't beat other team well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
Rush.
right.
Talking about these guys. That's a couple kids who travel most of the area.
Who's pitching for you guys? You guys got everybody available?
I think so. Friday. I think
Not available.
no, 103 is the now. This is June.
105 actually.
Right, so I think he's good.
I mean, he could actually go above 105 to play the last batter.
Right. He's fine. Because the thing slides in June all the way too.
Right, but I didn't
I don't
know it
know.
went up that high.
It goes to 125 in June.
I haven't cracked out my movers since I retired from coaching JV here 2 years ago.
I think it started at 85 in April, 105 in May, 125 in June. And each team, I don't know.
All the Dunkirk Fredonia baseball rivalry has had more injuries in recent years after a run of 13 consecutive wins on the front of Fredonia. Dunkirk started that long slide and back in 2011. Dunkirk's won the earlier game 3-3. They are on a bit of a rock patch here while Fredonia comes in on a 2-game winning streak. So both teams going.
I thought they threw well our first game.
We'll take a 2-minute timeout and hear from some of our sponsors.
Development stuff. You know, he's not no power yet, but he's a smart dude on mound. You know what I'm
A
saying?
lot of different speeds, a couple of different arm angles, nothing juicy, thigh high down the middle.
Right.
Running the ball the other way, the double to the right field gap, sure. Now the game's went down. Juicy in the game.
Although he doesn't like, he likes down here. So
Where do you fall from? Outfield?
hey man, how you doing?
Want to do a game with me?
You know what's funny? I said he was my next call if we could.
Sure,
Okay.
I can do that.
All right, excellent.
Aren't you glad you came over to say hello, Phil?
Yeah. All right.
You can buy me that beer later, Greg. Okay, you're welcome.
This is a setup.
This was a grand conspiracy. We wait long enough. Phil will come over.
He broke out some toys, and next thing I know, boom, I'm over here talking to you.
No, I got the idea. I didn't realize it until I started talking.
Now, am I going to get fined if I
No FCC violations, Phil.
say anything? You know, I mean, what's the fine if I say something about the umpiring or anything like that?
How's Shannon?
Oh, no.
Just don't tell the people that I was sick.
So you see these balls are dying, so you got to get out here.
Greg.
You got to watch your hands.
Do you have theirs? I want to check. Mind if I check numbers from last week?
Back at Dunkirk High School as we get set for the first pitch of today's rivalry game between the Dunkirk Marauders and the Fredonia Hillbillies. So let's run down the starting
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks for calling me back there. I really appreciate it. All right. All right, bye. What's up, boys?
I'm gonna let you know we have no sponsors at all.
I wasn't going to mention any sponsors anyway.
Yeah, we don't have no sponsors.
Other than DFT, right? You're going to slip that one in 3 or 4
I
times?
already got that in here. Look at it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just got back from my job at DFT today.
Okay. Just need to know. Nothing, man. How are you?
Great, how are you?
Question for you, Mr. Kory.
Yes.
In between innings,
Yep.
radio, it's easy. Take a 2-minute break, and you're like, it's like golden. What do you want to do? You're going to try to talk between each inning?
I think we mute that sucker and let him watch the warm-ups.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. I was kind of...
You were hoping for that?
Well, I mean, if we have something to say, we can go a
Right.
little longer. But, I mean, to try to talk through that the whole time, the whole game...
It's a
just to
lot
make
of
things
filling.
up. It is. It's a lot. You know, so we can just say, we'll be back.
We'll be back in a minute.
For the bottom of the Okay. I figured you'd kind of be on the same boat with that, but
Yeah, I mean, if there's a
wanted to-
big play or something and we want to chat through
Sure.
a particular inning, it's like you said, it's not like we're going to break.
Yeah, we have total control of what we want to do, but I don't think there's any how many cameras we got? Any reason why?
1, 2, 3.
3. Now where are you sitting to control that?
I'm letting it charge up for a little bit. I'm gonna sit.
I was gonna say you're not hanging over me, you're
No,
so I'm gonna punch you right in the face, Dylan.
We want to too.
You got
Okay.
Who started for you guys, Nick? Yeah. It's like it's the easiest prep in the world for doing these two games. You know so much about the kids. It's like,
So it's
okay.
Owen Ludwig?
Yeah.
So, Alex Rush, Dom Gullo, Joey Vendette, Gabe Schrader, Simon Davis, Jake Helmer, Owen Rush, it's a Trevor Purse, right?
Yes.
He didn't play last game either. And Joey Gullo, right?
Whenever you want to go, we live.
Conference?
Sure. That's what 9 and 3.
Yeah, what are you guys? 9 and 3, 4 and 1, 5 and 1? Two Southwestern, Olean, Fredonia, 2 Allegheny.
6 and 6 we are.
6. Silver Creek. Yeah, 6 and 1 league. And you guys are 6 and 6. Did I see 4 and 5 league? Or 5 and 4.
Is this right? I have the last game. This says 3 and 4 in max prep.
Did you just beat Allegheny? Is that in there?
Yeah, it's in there.
So 4 and 4?
Oh, it's in here. 3 and 4. We beat Allegheny twice, Southwestern once.
Oh, that's right. 7 games, 7 games. Still,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, we should have beat Olean twice. I would say we should have beat Southwestern twice, but we should have beat Olean twice.
Well, we'll take another 2-minute timeout, and on the other side will be first pitch between the Dunkirk Marauders. Back in 2 minutes.
Doug Foy, Scott Newton are officials.
Is Travis starting a third?
Who?
Travis Bryson.
No. Hobbies.
Who is?
Hobby.
Oh, Hobbies. So he's starting a short.
Louis starting short, yeah.
Scotty a second.
Yep. No, yes.
Just played first.
Jack Lansky.
Oh. So I don't think I have him in. It's 28, right? So
Yep.
Lockets and right.
Yep. I don't know if you can see it, but it's up there.
I don't know where you want this court to be easier so it's not in your way. If you want to sit on top or... Why am I getting squeaky noise?
Most importantly,
Yeah, really bad.
we hit between innings to mute this sucker.
That thing.
All the way down?
Yeah.
So you got it at
Towards you.
approximately 10 during?
That's better. Test. You hear me, Kory?
Test, yep.
We got you. Really?
Are we on?
We're live. All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Shannon Davis along with Kory Ahlstrom. We are live here in Dunkirk for the second rivalry game, Dunkirk versus Fredonia. Kory, you were at the first game. I wasn't. Why don't you give us a quick rundown of the first matchup between Dunkirk and Fredonia?
Well, I think, Shannon, really it was a closer game than what it ended up. Into the fifth inning, it was a 2-2 ball game, well-played game. Both teams put the ball in play and caught the baseball, and Dunkirk extended it out a little bit with a couple of runs late in the game, but I think we should expect another close game today.
Yeah, and really most league games overall, I know you guys have probably had some of the wider spread league games than anyone, but all the league games, it's a real tight league game this year, and really any, minus maybe Allegheny Limestone, but really any other team could win in any game.
Yeah, I think we were fortunate that we were able to spread out a little bit on Olean that one game, but other than that, we played 2 extra inning games versus Southwestern, a tight game versus Fredonia, and then lost a close game to Olean 3-1. So I think, yeah, the other, 4 teams in this league, it's pretty much any day, whatever team catches the baseball and throws strikes is going to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, and definitely Dunkirk's offense seems to be the premier offense of the league, really. And you look at their 1 through 9, even going into the season, we really expected the Marauders to put up some runs. What's been probably a little surprising, at least to me, is the pitching. Starting with Javi DeJesus and Nick Zatorsky, your 2 key starters, they've pitched lights out so far this year.
They have, and the key to both of them is they're throwing strikes. Both of them are throwing strikes at above a 60% clip. Not giving free bases away from the mound. And that offense you talked about, it really, as their top 3 guys have gone this year, that offense have gone there. All 3 of those guys are getting on base almost 2 out of 3 times that they're up and setting the table for the bottom 2/3 of the lineup, which are all putting the ball in play and hitting in the vicinity of 300. So it's kind of a cycle that once it gets going, it's tough to stop sometimes for teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought up the top 3, and if you look at those top 3 hitters, they're probably arguably the 3 best hitters or 3 of the best hitters entire league. Well, here we go. To start the game, we have for Dunkirk on the mound, Nick Zatorsky. Did not pitch against Fredonia in the first game, but as you said, he's pitched very well all year long. And leading off for Fredonia is Alex Rush.
Yeah, Nick's done a really good job getting ahead of hitters, so that'll be a good indicator early on as he, if he settles in here and establishes his fastball, should have a good day. Looks like first pitch of the game from Nick, fastball down and away to Alex Rush. And Alex, from what I know growing up and watching him play, a real patient, disciplined hitter, puts the ball in play at all fields and gets Fredonia's offense going.
Yeah, if you look down across Fredonia's lineup, it really, you're not going to see a lot of stunning offensive numbers. Joey Vandette has led the way offensively all year long. And there's a hard ground ball at the middle. Zatorski snags for the easy out at first.
Yeah, it was Nick fields his position well there, gets the first out of the game, and again, keeps a good base runner off the base pass and gets Dunkirk a little closer to getting their hacks in the first inning.
Yeah, absolutely. And hitting number 2 for Fredonia is senior center fielder Dom Gullo. Dom had a slow start to the season, but he's really, batting average is slowly climbing, and he's coming along. He's over 500, or close to 500 on base percentage, and close to the 300 mark hitting now.
Well, everybody who's followed local football knows that Dom is just a good overall athlete. So put the ball in play, let him use his wheels, and make his way around the bases for Fredonia.
Yeah, 3 varsity sports and captain to all 3. I think that says enough about Dom Gullo.
Yep. Got a 1-1 count on Dom. Nick misses with the first pitch, comes back, establishes a nice fastball in the inner half.
Be interesting. Both hitters so far took the first strike. We'll see if that's just coincidence or a plan going forward here. That ball was just a little low.
It looks like Nick's trying to work down to start the game, which is a good idea. Have the other team put the ball on the ground and hope your team makes the plays behind you.
Yeah, hitters usually, any pitcher wants to keep that ball down along the knees. Most pitchers struggle a little bit more with that.
Next offering from Nick looked like to be a changeup, an off-speed pitch of some sort, evens the count at 2-2.
Tough pitch to hit there for Gullo.
Yeah, behind in the count, came in on him, got below his hands. It was a really nice pitch. Oh, missed just high there. Brings the count to full, and another patient at bat from Fredonia, seeing pitches from Nick, making him work.
Yeah, a lot of the Fredonia hitters are pretty patient, not a lot of power on the team. The slap hitters, single hitters tend to be a little bit more patient.
Ground ball to Javi DeJesus, fields, throws. Jack Lansky makes a nice play, getting up and down back on the bag for the out at first.
Yeah, it was a real nice stretch by Lansky there, holding his toe on that bag and getting the second out of the inning.
Joey Vandette, who, like you said, is having a real big offensive year for Fredonia, to see if he can't get it going. Be the first lefty-lefty matchup we have of the day.
Yeah, and Joey hasn't had to face too many lefty pitchers in the league on the season. There really isn't many in our league this year, but he has been lights out all year, and he definitely got fooled on that pitch, but it just a little inside on the opening curveball there.
Yeah, Nick, as a lefty, like you said, there aren't a ton of them in our league. Helps put a quash on the running game with Phil Messina behind the plate, and really makes people go station to station against him.
Right, and obviously it makes scoring runs a lot more difficult. I mean, Nick's ERA, I don't know exactly. I know it's pretty outstanding this year. I'm sure you have it in front of you. Foul ball by Vandette and another curveball, it looks like.
Yeah, Nick has had a sub-2 ERA, and again, it's really not based on dominant stuff. It's simply based on making the other team put the ball in play and letting his defense do the work behind him.
And I think you made a great point bringing up Phil Messina. I mean, he's started as an 8th grader for Dunkirk, and he by far is the best catcher in the league, one of the best, if not the best, in Western New York. And what a weapon he is, an asset for pitchers on there.
He's a calming influence behind the plate. There's
another foul ball.
And it's kind of an interesting year, Shannon, where you have a team that you would typically not say is a young team. Both DeJesus and Zatorski are junior starters, but without a season last year. This is really their first taste of throwing any meaningful innings at the varsity level. So I think all the teams in the league play artificially young.
Yes, they definitely true. Chase the high fastball there for strike 3, and a quick 1-2-3 inning for Zatorski. Good start for Dunkirk.
Well, we've got an opportunity between the first inning. We might as well set the lineups for both teams.
Sure.
Starting on the mound for Fredonia is going to be Owen Ludwig. His battery mate will be Joey Vandette. Going around the infield, we'll have Trevor Persh at first, Alex Rush at second, Gabe Schrader at short. The other Rush brother, Owen, making a start at third base. In the outfield, going from left to right, is Jake Helmer in left, Dom Gullo in center, and Simon Davis in right field. The batting lineup for Dunkirk will start with the junior center fielder Alex Ahlstrom, followed by senior left fielder Michael Norton. Aforementioned senior catcher Philip Messina batting third. Junior third baseman Javier DeJesus batting fourth. Senior right fielder Donovan Lockett batting fifth. Senior Nick Marzowitz will do the DH duties for Jack Lansky at first base, batting sixth. Junior Nick Zatorsky pitching, batting seventh. Senior Scotty Korzinski batting eighth at second base. And Luis Segura playing shortstop, batting ninth for Dunkirk.
Yeah, and the piggyback off your point about a lot of young teams in the league, and that is a direct result of not having baseball next year. Across the board, if you weren't a starter as a freshman, really, you really got very little varsity experience. You brought up like a Zatorsky. He did happen to start at a lot of games at first as a freshman, but not a lot of meaningful pitching. Javi played JV and missed a lot of his JV year due to injury that year. So really a big unknown for your pitchers, the Dunkirk pitchers, and they've come out great. And you can say the same for Fredonia's pitcher. Owen Ludwig, as a freshman, pitched only on JV. He pitched very well that year as a freshman. And now he's thrown in on as the ace of Fredonia without any varsity experience. Gabe Schrader started as a freshman at short, but pitched next to no innings, definitely no meaningful. And both of those individuals have pitched very well this year as well. And I mean, I know you have Norton, Messina, Alex. Those guys definitely played a lot of innings on varsity considering not having last year.
Right.
But you look at Fredonia, and it's really the opposite. You had Alex Rush, who got DH. He started at second as a sophomore, but he got DH for most of the time. Gabe Schrader did play short as a freshman, and he hit for himself, but towards the bottom of the lineup. And now he's been hitting 3 or 4 all year this year. Yes. And you have the senior Dom Gullo, who did start in center field as a sophomore. But that's it for Fredonia. None of these individuals really have any varsity experience whatsoever.
Yeah, you kind of have to dig deeper than what the grade level is on the lineups. I mean, in Dunkirk, you have Nick Marzowitz making a start today at DH for Jack Lansky, who's a senior. But this is his first year of meaningful varsity baseball.
Absolutely.
There's a call-up towards the end of the year. His sophomore year, so he's got probably had a dozen at-bats or so in at the end of the season in playoffs. But, the year of experience where you bat down in the order and work your way up, a lot of these kids lost, and it's, something that you kind of have to consider.
Yeah, so Ludwig's getting his 6th start of the year. He's pitched very well. He's 2-1 overall, and ERA of a 3.27.
First pitch to Alex Ahlstrom is a fastball on the lower end of the zone called strike one. Got a foul ball down the left side. As we talked about earlier, the top 3 hitters here for Dunkirk have, through a variety of means, found their way on base this year and kind of worked their way along to give Dunkirk a lot of hot starts.
Coming here thinking about the Dunkirk lineup and knowing so many of these kids.
It's a tough fly ball down the right field line. It's a nice play by Mr. Pershing, foul ground. And Ludwig gets the first out of the game.
And that's a big out because, what I think you were getting at and what I was talking about is I was wondering what the percentages of Alex Ahlstrom getting on base and scoring, and it has to be phenomenally high because his base running skills, his speed, and then you have Norton, Messina, and whoever they're hitting fourth behind him and really Lockett at 5 have been outstanding all year long. So it's a real big out to get that first one for Ludwig.
You give Ludwig some credit there for challenging Alex up. He definitely has. He's walked in the vicinity of 16 times on the year in 12 games, and I think he scored 22 runs. So if you put him on base, he normally steals second, and then one of the next 2 guys each are batting close to 500. On average, they're going to get a hit and you score a run. So that's a big start to the game for Ludwig.
And it takes off a lot of pressure on the defense, too, when you have such a good base runner on and such good hitters at the plate. It really tenses up these players.
It changes rhythm for the pitcher. He's got to slow down. He's got to focus on something other than the batter. It just both pitchers here getting the first out of the game is key to a successful first inning.
So Norton here is up. Mike Norton, senior left fielder. And he's down up on the count 3-0. It was actually a 2-0 curveball in the dirt going up 3-0. So Lugwitz finds himself behind. You'd be surprised if Norton has a green light here, but we'll never know. Ball 4.
Yep. Mike's provided a lot of the power for the Dunkirk team this year. He's got 2 home runs, driven in 17 runs. He's had 6 doubles, so a little less than half of his hits on the season have been in the extra base hit variety. So yeah, definitely somebody to pitch careful to, and I would bet that you were right there that he had a green light 3-0 in the first inning.
So here's the legendary Phil Messina hitting third. Again, it would be a 5-year starter if there was a season last year, which is an impressive number for any baseball player. I don't care what size school it is. And he started out with a called strike himself.
Phil's hitting 500 exactly on the season and just puts the barrel of the bat on the baseball and seems to find the holes a couple of times every game. There's one right there down the left field line.
Fair ball.
Fair ball. It's down. It's going to be extra bases for Phil. I think Coach Jagoda is going to send Mike Norton from home. He's going to score with relative ease, and Phil's going to go to third on the throw. So Phil with the RBI double there, taking third in aggressive base running, and it's just like we said there. On average, one of those first 3 guys finds their way on in the first inning, and somebody drives them in. I'm going to go back here and look, but anecdotally, out of 12 games, I bet you that's the 9th or 10th game that Dunkirk scored a run in the first inning.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and they're tough to keep off the scoreboard. I believe it was 1-0 after the first inning. Dunkirk scored the first time around. I think it was an ill-advised throw to home. They really had no shot to get them, and that mistake cost them a base for Messina smartly advancing on the throw to get now 5 balls, scores them.
Yeah, it really looks like Coach Gullo's got the infield back, so anything in play, probably not to the pitcher here, is going to give you an opportunity to score a run.
And not that I disagree with the strike zone, but he's not giving them that low pitch at all. We've seen a lot of umpires this year give pitchers that low pitch. And he is not today, so that's definitely advantage for the hitters, Kory, forcing the pitchers to get the ball up and get behind in the count.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out because neither one of the pitchers for either team here throws inordinately hard. Neither one of them are probably expecting to strike out 12 players. They're expecting to try to keep the ball down, make the other team hit the ball on the ground, and make plays behind them. So if it's a little tighter zone and the hitters can be a little more selective, there might be some opportunities for some runs to be scored on both sides.
Yeah, and overall, with the difference in the lineup, I would say is definitely an advantage to Dunkirk.
That's a ground ball up the middle by DeJesus. That's going to get through, and it's going to be 2-0 Dunkirk, 3 hitters in. Javi's another one. Started the season for Dunkirk batting down in the order.
I was just going to bring that up.
Earned his way from probably batting 7 or 8 of the first half a dozen games to batting 4th. And it isn't a fancy approach at the plate. It's a left-handed hitter who stays through and puts the ball on the barrel, and it finds holes. And also gives Coach Jagoda an opportunity to go righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty for his first 5 hitters of the lineup, which is a little tough for pitchers to get into a rhythm early on.
Yeah, and bringing up Javi, and to me, the big difference, double play, no, hard hit ball. Schrader couldn't come up with it. Tough play, but definitely going to personally score that as an error, and that would have been a double play opportunity if he could have came up with it. But it was hard hit, and that's what happens. You hit the ball hard, put it in play, good things tend to happen.
It does. I agree with you on that one. It was hard hit, which, you know, hard hit right at him makes the play a little challenging based on the velocity of the ball coming at him, but also was going to be a really easy double play because the ball was taking him right to second base, a couple of steps and plenty of time to make a throw because of how hard it was hit. So that's a break for Dunkirk because they got 1 out and another man in scoring position.
So a little timeout here. It looks like it's players called. And going back to Javi a little bit, you know, my son played travel ball with him last summer, and we were all over about using the whole field. He's always been more of a pull hitter, and it's hurt him. And I've noticed so far watching the games, he seems to be using that as a base hit up the middle, using the whole field more like you brought up. And that's really been a big difference in his hitting success.
He's been doing a good job of keeping his hands back and using, still not going to see anything right down the left field line from him, but kind of gap, left center gap to the right field line and, you know, making people play him honest.
Right. And if you're not trying to pull everything, you're going to put the ball in play a lot harder more often.
After the timeout here, Owen Ludwig responds. We got up 0-2 on Nick Marzowitz here because getting it out here without him putting the ball in play would be key for Fredonia here, keeping the runner on second base.
Yeah, absolutely. Low strike at the knees, and he challenged with a high fastball. Might have been out of the zone a little bit, and Marzowitz fouled it off, going down 0-2.
I think Coach Gull there concerned that his pitcher might have balked here. The umpires must have seemed to think that he stepped backwards on the throw to first base.
Yeah, I think that was a design pickoff play, and he was mad that he didn't actually throw it to first. Yes. Fredonia is definitely notorious for their pickoff plays and back picks especially, and it recorded a number of outs that way this year. They spent a lot of time practicing it. And for the most part, not to Gullo's satisfaction, they've done a pretty nice job this year with it.
Frodonia's been known for that back pick at second base since Pete Krishon and back when I played in the 90s, where they were running that play. And it's like, at this point in time, it's just part of the baseball culture. If you put your head down and fall asleep on the bases, they're going to make a good play on you. Oh,
that's a big break. You know, Marzowitz didn't put it in play like you talked on, struck out, but the ball bounced out of Van Det's glove and enabled both runners, did a nice job and advanced. It's a pass ball on Van Det, and two runners now in scoring position for Zatorski, who started the year as the four-hitter and started off good. It's a little struggle now, but he is a real threat at any point to put the ball and play hard.
Ludwig does a good job again. Lower end of the strike zone, outer end of the strike zone, getting on top, 1-0 or up with the first strike.
Yeah.
Really good base running by Phil Messina, leading the charge on that one. He saw the ball down, and there was no hesitation gone because it didn't kick more than 3 or 4 feet from Joey Van Det.
No, that was actually Javi.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Javi scored. Yeah,
Javi at third base.
Which is, you compare the speed difference between the two, it's even more impressive because Phil is, no offense to Javi whatsoever, has a lot more speed than Javi does.
We keep talking about the top third of that lineup. The thing in common with those three guys, all of them can run at a certain level.
Power and speed is a dangerous combo. That's
and
for
Javi
sure.
basically just took third base on a good read.
Yeah,
is what it is. No hesitation and going.
Just missed inside there in the 0-2 count.
Yeah, this should be a big at-bat here for Nick Zatorski. If he can put a single together, score 2 more, give himself some cushion early. That ball's fair. It's going to be a problem, but it looks like it's hook and foul. Foul ball.
It just foul there. Deep ball down the right field line. Davis chasing it, couldn't get to her, but it was that saved 2 runs for sure.
Yeah, that was going to be a minimum of a double, and I think Nick might have had a chance at a triple because it was going to get its way into the corner there and bang around a little bit. And it was probably our vantage point for those of you at home. We're right next to the Dunkirk dugout if you can hear them getting into the game as well. We've got a interesting vantage point, or limited vantage point, at third base and left field, but if we were looking straight down the line at that one, it could have been more than a foot foul.
No, it was close. I think that was an off-speed pitch that he pulled foul. See what he comes back with after that. Fastball, ooh, must have just been outside. I like the pitch call there after that, but he didn't get, just missed the outside corner, 2-2.
Yeah, I think Mr. Ludwig there hit exactly where Joey Van Det was setting up, looking against Zatorski to chase.
And again, I definitely think smaller zone today. And not saying it's one side or the other, but it's a smaller zone than I've seen the year. That pitch has been called a lot, and it's going to be advantage Dunkirk with their power to smaller strike zone. 3-2 count.
Nick battles off a nice curveball.
Yeah. Just got a piece of a real nice pitch. That was Ludwig's pitch there. Good job by the hitter, staying alive.
Yeah, ball down in the zone. On the outer edge of the zone, one you had to put a bat on to foul it off, but probably not one you can really do much with as a hitter. Another foul ball by Zatorski.
There's another curveball, too. Ludwig doesn't have one of the big swooping curveballs. It's much tighter than a lot of pitchers in the area. So it almost looks, it has like a slider look to it, but it is his curveball. Comes with it again and gets him this time. But that was a good at-bat for Zatorski, fouling off some tough pitches, and Ludwig gave him his best to get out of that jam.
Yeah, at the end of one inning, we've got Dunkirk 2, Fredonia nothing, and Fredonia bringing up 4-5-6 to bat in the second here.
All right, I think maybe we'll take a quick break here while the teams warm up and switch sides, and we'll be right back with you for the top of the second inning. Okay, we are back. Gabe Schrader is leading off for Fredonia as shortstop and number 4 hitter. Dunkirk up 2-0 after one. Big inning for Zatorski.
First pitch offered by Zatorski, fastball down in the zone. Contrary to how Nick's thrown this year, he hasn't really thrown a lot of first pitch strikes to the first 4 hitters.
And I know at least the first 2, but I think the first 3 hitters last inning was ball 1 each time. Yep. Second pitch was always a strike, though. This time it is a ball, and it's why not a lot of times, we definitely see pitchers like Ludwig is going to be DH for today. He's not much of an offensive threat either, but you let pitchers focus on pitching only. Sometimes it's a little easier for them.
3-0. Nick falls behind Schrader 3-0 to start the second inning. If you're Dunkirk, you're looking for a shutdown inning after scoring a couple here to get the leadoff man out and get back into the dugout and build offensively. Nick battles back with strike 1.
Yeah, it took a little something off that fastball, knowing it would have to be down 2-0. Pure take there. Nice job by Nick getting in. Ball 4 there, and that's going to drive coaches nuts. You get 2-run lead, and you walk the leadoff hitter.
We've introduced everybody so far today, Shannon. We got a veteran umpiring crew here today, actually.
Yes, we do.
Judge Foy behind the plate. Judge's been umpiring for a number of years. No. I won't say decades because he'd get mad at me, but for a long period of time, done some big games, including sectionals and crossovers. And Scott Newton on the bases, who's also been in the association for quite some time. So Foy should be in good hands. We got a bunt here, move a runner on.
And he's safe, yeah.
He's safe at first. And
Nick was Zatorski a little too nonchalant with that. And Davis has good speed. That's actually the second game in a row he's gotten a bunt single on a sacrifice bunt attempt there.
Yep.
And it wasn't that great of a bunt. He just honestly did a pretty good job getting down the line to score. Yeah. Or to be safe at first, excuse me.
Absolutely. We have the way I'm scoring that at home is he was going to beat that out is definitely a bunt single, and then we'll have Schrader move to third on a throwing error.
Yep.
To move him along, but that was an earned base hit.
Absolutely. So now you got first and third, but it's not an automatic steal situation by any means because you're up 2, so you could easily say, hey, we'll take the out here.
Absolutely.
And you got a lefty on the mound with Messina behind, so it wasn't going on pitch 1 to Helmer, senior left fielder. Did you call a strike on it?
Called a strike one there, fastball at the top of the zone.
Well, but here's Helmer's another prime example. zero varsity experience as a senior baseball player. You know, Davis starting in right field, played zero varsity baseball as a freshman either, so this is his first varsity season.
It's tough to go back 2 years in our head here, but Fredonia's kind of coming off a decade of dominance of this league, where they won a lot of baseball games, and in winning a lot of baseball games had a lot of veteran-laden teams. So if you go back, skip last year, the year before, that's a year that Fredonia won the league. Had a veteran lineup.
For years.
For, that year and years before, so they didn't have a lot of freshmen or sophomores that broke into the lineup. So a lot of what are this year's juniors and seniors are their first.
Offered at that bunt, missed it for a strike. That'd be a swing and miss. Would have been borderline pitch. Probably a strike if he pulled back, but it was close. Either way, he offered at it. Strike 2, 2-2 count here for Helmer. No outs, first and third. Schrader on third, Davis on first.
It's going to be a foul ball. And Dunkirk is fortunate, not on the mound as we spoke about, because, again, if you go back to the last time we played, they had a veteran pitching staff. Peyton Ahlstrom, Jared Gloniak, Tristan Skelly, all
Porpiglia.
Lucas Porpiglia, all kids who aren't here anymore, did the bulk of the throwing on that team. But that lineup featured Messina, Alex Ahlstrom, Nick Zatorsky, Michael Norton, all those guys. And, you know,
Bryson Travis came up, played a little bit, you know, a lot more veteran.
But
good off-speed pitch there that gets Helmer to pop it up. Foul. Lansky's there to squeeze it for the first out. And that's a big out, not advancing any runners whatsoever.
Yeah, that's a big out here now, because now with the left-handed pitcher, they haven't been able to advance him to second base, so that leaves a double play in order up the middle. Got a good young hitter at the plate here. I've had the opportunity to see Owen Resch play a little bit over summer ball the last couple of years. Nice swing, not somebody you want to leave something up and out over the plate too. Let him get his arms extended on.
Owen definitely struggled being a freshman beginning of the year, but the last couple of games he's hit some hard hit balls that we're all accustomed rush to hitting, and he squares the bunt, takes a ball. He hit one yesterday, or not yesterday, but on Friday in Fredonia with no fence, but it easily would have been out of here in Dunkirk. He got a triple when he hit it to left field, and he's not fleet of foot himself, just to give you an idea.
He's going to earn his triples to left?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of times young hitters, as they come up and get their first varsity at-bats, I mean, these days kids are throwing off-speed pitches from a pretty early age, but you get to the varsity level and kids start to command that pitch, and you're seeing 2-1 curveballs and 3-1 curveballs, and not necessarily just fastballs and fastballs counts. It takes some adjusting to do for young hitters.
Yeah. That's really putting the freshman behind here in the count with bunting here. You know, if Coach Gullo loves the bunt, sometimes I'm maybe a little too modern for my own taste or whatever, but you would think maybe you'd want to let him hit, at least get a fly ball and get a run in. Now he's down 1-2, a freshman against the junior Zatorsky, and it's, see if he can overcome that.
Yeah, Coach Gullo down there, I think, is slightly frustrated with the way the innings unfolded. You think he's had kids square 5 times to bunt and yet to execute and get the ball down. If one of those is down, I think Dunkirk's conceding a run on a bunt here.
Yeah,
if
the
put
last
the ball
two
down
batters.
And in play.
Davis did get it down and beat it out for a hit, and then
we had
Helmer
one single, and the last 2 batters haven't gotten one down to score a run. The opportunity to have an inning and break through has kind of been here. Just,
Yeah. Definitely a double play runner in the box. Owen is a lot of things, but fast is not one of them. Although he is a good base runner, but that doesn't help you run down the line on a
on a ground ball.
Yeah, but he is actually, I've seen him steal more bases just sneaking them, being smart, but just straight speed. Owen just doesn't have that trait.
Runner goes on this pitch, got him picked off.
Oh, he's
Good job by Davis. There's zero hesitation. He was going on the first move of a lefty. Broke immediately, went straight through there, and the smart play by Lansky was to put the ball in his pocket and not let the runner score from third.
And that's exactly what Coach Dakota, you probably could hear him yelling, hold it, hold it, hold it, because he did not want to throw that away and let Schrader score, especially up, 2-2 count on Rush here, the number 7 hitter. He might be able to get out of the way with Persh up next. And I was about to say prior to that, I think Gullo was talking about possible balks here, is my guess.
I would think so, yeah.
But I was going to say, to show the respect Gullo has for Phil Messina, Simon Davis leads Fredonia in stolen bases, and he didn't send him for a number of pitches in a first and third situation with the lefty on the mound. So, that gives, just to put the viewers in perspective, how good Phil is, and, every lefty balks. We all know that. So that's what Coach Gullo is talking about, and, maybe trying to get into Torsky's head a little bit too.
Yeah.
It's a veteran move by a veteran coach.
It's, I think most of the viewers at home probably know that for a number of years I umpired. It's an impossible call to make for a umpire in a two-man crew. The guy that makes those calls, frankly, isn't here today. It's the third guy that's on the outside. Unless it's something egregious, there's almost no ability from where you have to stand to be in position to make the other calls to also be able to see.
He swung that ball 4 there, pitch in the dirt, couldn't hold it. Check swing, Messina did a great job blocking that and able to throw Rush out at first and not allowing Schrader to advance.
Phil did a really good job knowing who was running to first base. He knew that he had a second. He composed himself. He took a couple of slides actually towards third and froze the runner at third and then made a good throw to first base. There was really no opportunity to do that. I think there, deep in the count with 2 strikes there, I think that was, Coach Dakota trying to see if he can get a young hitter to chase, and if not, and you put him on, now you got the bases loaded, and you put the double play back into effect, and you try to get out of the inning that way.
Well, everyone in down here, Coach Dakota's seen Owen Rush play in fall ball. He's come to a lot of our Bomber games last year. Knows Owen's power. You're not going to groove one for him. Good pitch on the inside corner of Persh, and Trevor Persh is now up, first baseman. We should give another example. He played freshman ball, but he didn't play any summer ball last year either. So it's been 2 years since he's played baseball. And he just recently moved into the starting lineup. A lot of the year he was the 4th outfielder. He's done a good job when he's had chances. And, Gullo's, he had to learn. You don't know what you have and where you're putting kids. And the last 3 or 4 games, he started at first base and done a real nice job.
Well, that's one of the things we haven't had a chance to talk about here, not only for the players and not getting experience and not working themselves through a normal progression through high school baseball. These coaches haven't had the opportunity to watch these guys play and develop. I mean, a fair amount on each one of these teams plays some summer ball. Majority of that, even the kids that play, quote, local travel ball is in Buffalo, so it's not around here to go see, just show up at a park and go see.
Absolutely.
So they were, the first half of the season, they were learning and probably didn't have much of an idea coming out of the gym what they had.
No, it was very difficult. You've seen, or I've seen with Fredonia anyway, lineups changing daily, people playing different positions. Coach Gullo's really trying to figure it out. And now we have Joe Gullo up to bat, and Joe Gullo hasn't played baseball since Little League, and he just roped the ball to the third baseman off Javi DeJesus, almost thrown out by Luis Segura. Way to be Johnny in the spot, and Javi DeJesus a little upset with himself right there, but that was a hot shot and real tough play. I'm leaning more towards a hit on that one.
I think so, too.
Than anything. Yeah, he had a shot at it, but it would have taken an outstanding play for that to happen.
Right now here, Fredonia's got bases loaded. We've cycled back to the top of the order.
Yeah, and this is, you have a senior, one of the few players that have played it for Alex Rush off the bat. I mean, he's hitting below the Mendoza line really for the season. A lot of good at-bats, puts the ball in play, really needs to come up big for Fredonia here. And possible chance to tie the game or even take the lead with decent speed and Persh at second base.
Yeah, this is one of those where you've kind of worked your way through, and 8 and 9 have made their way on, and now you've got the top of the order where you got a patient hitter It's a 2-ball, no strike count, so he's got to think he's going to get a fastball here to hit and chance to put a barrel on it and see if he finds an opening.
Yeah, and with that, a 2-0 count, does he get the take sign? Pitcher struggling a little bit. You know, Fredonia is not. I'm not saying he should or shouldn't. I'm just. They're not the most powerful offense, so they have to scratch and claw to score runs. So it'll be interesting to see here. It's not a guarantee. You know, Ahlstrom, Norton, Messina, they have green light all the way, right?
Yeah. I think that was a straight take.
Yeah, I do too. I think
that what it tells you is that Coach Gullo's playing for one here. I guess, you know, it's the conventional wisdom on the road is you play for a tie on the road, but not playing. If you're playing for a big inning here, you probably give him a green light here, hoping that he hits a double and breaks it open. Ground ball to second baseman. Got a nice play here.
He's safe.
It's like Coach Jagoda going out to the mound here.
Could be now.
Going to try to settle his team down here.
There was a little hesitation by second with Korzinski going to Segura, and even if Segura caught it, it would have been real close, Kory. I don't know if he was out if he caught that, but he dropped the ball, so it made an easy call for the field umpire. Either way, it's a fielder's choice / error, no hit on the play regardless.
Yeah.
But that's a big mistake by Dunkirk to let Fredonia tie it up there. Satorsky pitched the third out of the inning.
He definitely did. I think he was going to have him by a step there. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak for the player here, but I'm wondering if we didn't, lose track of what the situation is. It almost looked like Segura was coming across the bag looking to make another throw on that one as opposed to taking it and fielding it like a first baseman.
Right. Just taking, you're right. Maybe he lost track of I didn't even think of that.
Kind of looked like he was flowing across the bag there and moving towards first base when it's the third out of the inning and the inning ends.
Or he's worried about linebacker Joe Gullo coming down hard on him too. Because he definitely looked distracted a little bit from catching the ball. I think that's a great point. Good hustle by Joe Gullo. Give him lots of credit. Exactly, and make it a little harder on him. And Fredonia is now able to tie it up. Top set, Dom Gullo, senior, up to bat here. Really could do some damage, and he hits the first pitch.
Who's going to take control there? I think we're going to have Alex Ahlstrom taking in center field. Probably the good play coming. He's a one player coming in. So that'll end an interesting inning for Dunkirk here. And Fredonia is going to score 2 runs. They're going to get 2 hits. There were 2 big Dunkirk errors that contributed to that. Kind of a... We might as well stay here for this break here. Looks like we'll have a quick transition. Something to think about. They've each had 1 inning. Nick Zatorsky had a really efficient and quick first inning, then labored in the second innings, thrown 41 pitches through 2 innings. Owen Ludwig labored in the first inning through 26, according to my calculations, unofficial pitches in the first inning. So in high school baseball, we're dealing with pitch counts here in the neighborhood of 125 or so. And if we're going to average 20 to 25 pitches an inning, we're going to get into bullpens quick in this game.
Yeah, and, it's interesting you brought that up about Ludwig. If he has a bad inning throughout, he's only had 1 clean first inning all season long. He is one of those Tommy Glavine, notorious slow starters that tends to struggle in the first inning. His last start against Southwestern was really the only game he didn't have that slow start. So let's see if he can settle in like he has all year long in the second. So, like we were saying, let's see if Ludwig can settle in and use that momentum. But on the other hand, he sat there a long time during that inning. It was a very long 2-run inning. Left the bases loaded even after scoring 2. So he doesn't get much longer 2-run inning than that.
No.
With no pitching change either.
No, Fredonia sent, 11 men to the plate?
4 through around to 2.
Back around 2. Sent 8 men to the plate that inning. And, it was, like I said, Nick threw 27 pitches in the inning. So he definitely... labored a little bit. Now, there was a couple extra outs that were given that
you had that borderline play at third. You gave Schrader an extra base on Davis's bunt single.
Yep.
The big error was that third out that would have stopped the second run at first. That obviously cost an unearned run there for Zatorsky. But the throwing error, that first error, really didn't make a difference in the big picture, although Davis wouldn't have been able to steal second, so maybe it did, but not obvious, put it on paper
wouldn't
difference.
Have been obvious. The interesting part about that one is it scored on a hit, but we had a run score on a hit, the ball that never left the infield, that ball that was scorched, it was an RBI single. Does that runner score if he's not advanced to base? Because the ball went right to Segura. We had to play at first base.
Right.
It's an interesting dynamic there.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the two hits, that's a great point, too. Neither of them left the infield. Gullos was scorched. There might be a double down the line if it doesn't hit Javi.
Absolutely.
But it was right at him.
And if it's 3 feet, it's 3 feet either direction. To give you viewers, I know the third base is a little bit of a dead spot in our camera angle here as well. The ball was hit hard enough that it bounced off the third baseman, deflected to the shortstop, and there was a play at first base.
And Gullo's not slow either.
Right.
He's a fast runner, and he was only safe by his step or at most at first.
He beat that out. So it hit off Javi hard enough that it deflected 30 feet to the left, was picked up and thrown to first base.
Another foul ball here by Scott Krasinski, starting second baseman, the leadoff for Dunkirk. Down 0-2, but he's fouled off a couple tough two-strike pitches so far.
Scotty's one of those players you talked about, where I don't think at the beginning of the year, Coach Jagoda knew exactly what he was going to get out of Scott.
Good play there by Schrader. A slow hit ball in the infield. You didn't know if he was going to have a chance, and he came up hard, got rid of it real quick. Schrader doesn't have the cannon shortstop arm, but the release is very quick, and he was able to get the out at first.
Yes, and finish talking about Scotty there. It was one of those at the beginning of the year. He was being DH for out in the field, got some at-bats, had some hits, has worked himself up to where he's not anymore. I think Coach always knew he was going to give him reliable innings on the mound and some reliable defensive innings in the field, but I think it's been a pleasant surprise over the last couple of weeks how he's managed to put the bat on the ball.
Luis Segura hitting ninth for Dunkirk, playing shortstop. Excellent fielding shortstop. Has been DH for a lot this year. I don't think he's gotten a ton of bats, has he, Kory?
He is not. There's a ground ball in the hole, though. That's going to be a base hit there between third and short. Lou handles the bat okay, meaning puts the bat on the ball and makes the other team make plays. You mentioned about the Fredonia hitters. He's one that's probably, if you're looking for somebody to drive the ball out of the ballpark or over somebody's head, it's not going to be his game. But put the ball in play and see what happens is way more his style, and he did a good job there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we brought it quickly about the first game. The bottom of the order for Dunkirk was really big and setting the table and getting some hits. And here we have number 9 hitter, Luis Segura, getting on for this top of the order. Is there 2 balls or I thought it was the first pitch?
The first pitch was a strike there. It was one of the lower end of the strike zone for today, but
I was just looking at the scoreboard. It said 2-0. So
there's a ball driven deep to left field. That's over the center fielder's head. That's going to be 2 at least. Down in the gap. That's the deepest part of the ballpark here in Dunkirk. Alex is on his way to third. He's going to get it standing up, a stand-up triple, score another run.
Man, that ball was smoked by Ahlstrom. It was an off-speed curveball. He waited on it nicely, drove it dead center. Dom Gullo had a great turn on it, and with his speed, had absolutely no chance to get there. Stand-up triple for Ahlstrom. Outstanding hit. And there's that. You get on base as the bottom of the order is really going to hurt you if you're Fredonia giving up any hits or walks to the bottom of this order.
Yeah, that ball there it's about 415, 420 to that part at the center field in Dunkirk. That ball was struck close to 400 feet. Played really well by Dom Gullo because Alex can run and to hold him to a triple. But that was one of those pitches that we talked about. You talked about that curveball being more of a slider. It kind of just spun and stayed there about the thigh.
Yeah.
And there's Michael Norton with the ball to left field. Think it's going to be foul?
Yeah.
It's kind of in our blind spot here for Shannon
I think it curved more foul than we think it did based on watching the bodies and everything else of everyone. Norton took about 2 steps out of the box and stopped and watched it. Yeah. Helmer didn't even chase after it, so it must have been fairly foul.
This is another one where I think Coach Gullo here is confident in his team's ability to score a couple of runs this afternoon based on that second inning, because he's got the infield back all the way around. If Michael Norton can put the bat on the ball, not hit it to the pitcher, I think Alex is probably going to score from third base and give Dunkirk a lead. So it's it's a really big pitch by Ludwig there to get the strikeout.
Yeah, it looked like Norton was way out in front of that pitch,
Yeah.
trying to pull it. You don't see Norton look like that on too many swings, and that's a big out. But, with this lineup, if you pull, they hit so many balls hard, you bring that infield in, you're definitely leaving yourself up to a huge inning. Like you said, Ahlstrom's such good base running. Odds of him scoring anyway are high.
There's a ball score. Oh, took a funny hop, actually a fortunate hop at Fredonia. Ball up the line, didn't get him.
He's way out of the baseline. They're calling him out. Okay, I don't know what. He definitely.
I think the umpires are going to confer here about whether he got the tag,
or are they calling him out of the baseline? Because he ran way wide to avoid that tag. I mean, he seemed to me be outside of the batter's running box to avoid that tag. I mean, good job by Messina doing that. Let's see what the calls are going to leave it as is. Okay.
I think that must be it, because according to our vantage point here, I don't think he got him with the glove.
No, he definitely missed the tag.
Yeah,
I mean, what an effort by Phil, and what an effort by Persh to come off the bag like that, because the throw brought Persh way down the first baseline, went and got it, and that's one of the reasons Gullo has him there, because probably some of the other first basemen we were rolling out there doesn't make that play. So that's a run-saving play by Persh. And honestly, I think he was outside that running lane in there.
Well, the other thing I'm wondering, Shannon, there was kind of a scrum, I'm going to call it, at first base where they both dove back to the bag. I wonder if it's possible that he got back to the bag before, because I think Michael went around, or Phil went around and had to come back to the bag.
Oh, he definitely did.
So in going around and coming back, did Trevor get to the bag before? Was the call that he got back to the bag before? That very well could be it as well.
It could be.
Because he didn't make a motion that it was for out of the baseline.
That's true. Of course, I was watching over there, not him, because he's standing over at second base on that because of the runner on third.
Yeah.
So that's a tough call for him to even see how wide he was.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's. I wonder if the call on that was that he beat him back to the bag, and that, because that very well is, could be the case.
Yep, that could be too. It'll be interesting. Maybe we can see if we can get some update on that in between innings, and maybe the next inning, because we didn't go to a break this inning.
We'll go to break and see if we can ask.
Yeah, because I'm curious too. So to get out of that inning with 2 hits and only give up 1 run was a nice job by Ludwig.
It is. It's a good answer inning for Dunkirk, though. You give up 2, you come back, you make a statement, you put a run back up on the board. Now it's up to Nick Zatorsky to put a 0 up there and get his team back in the dugout.
Yeah, they had 3 hard hit balls that inning. Phil's receiver was hit hard. It just was right at the shortstop, and he got a big hop off that lip. He was playing deep enough that it was an easier play for him that way. Gullo. Van Dett ropes that first pitch foul down the right field line. Joey's 0 for 1 today.
Yeah, I think that ball was actually right where Nick wanted it. He put the ball underneath his hands. Phil was set up inside. He was able to put a good swing on it, but I don't know that he was going to be able to do a lot with it other than
foul it off.
Other than rope it foul, because he was inside and under his hands. It's a tough pitch to keep fair. I'll be interested to see if he goes off speed away here after setting up with an inside fastball.
And he is lining out to the outside, Kory. Good call, and that's exactly what he does. And Van Dett's able to pull that one way foul, but he's down 0-2. So good job by Zatorsky. 2 good pitches to start out against Fredonia's 3-hitter.
I don't know if you're in the pitching handbook here, Shannon. Is the next one a fastball up?
Hey, that's the.
Fastball in, curveball down. Are we going to go fastball in his eyes, see if you can get him to chase?
He got a little too much of that one, but he got away with it.
Another off-speed pitch down and away, but I don't think that was either down or away enough for Coach Jagoda's liking.
Right. I mean, that's, it's either high inside fastball in that situation or a low away curveball.
Or in the dirt. You've got nobody on base here. There's no worries about bouncing and advancing a runner.
And he didn't.
Throw a 59.5-footer and see if you can get him to chase and trust that Phil's going to keep it in front of him.
Absolutely. And I know all these pitchers have a lot of trust in their catcher, Messina. Going back to Little League, all these guys have thrown nothing but Messina for years and years.
Yep.
Going away again here. Messina's line. I didn't say it too loud.
That's a good job by Joe.
And I think based on Coach Agoda's reaction, that ball once again got a little too much of the strike zone. But like you said, Vandette did do a nice job going with that pitch and hitting it back up the middle. And that's just what Agoda said to Nick. 0-2.
Yeah, I think it wasn't a bad pitch for a different situation. It had a lot of the plate for 0-2. You're trying to get the guy to extend. He hadn't taken a pitch yet in that bat.
Absolutely.
So that's a throw it in his eyes, throw it in the ground, throw the foot outside, see if you can get him to attack. Sounds like Coach Jagoda challenging his young pitcher here. They're in the heart of the Fredonia order here.
Schrader, Gabe Schrader up, shortstop. He walked his first time at bat and scored the first run for Fredonia. Pitch out there, nothing happening. It's the first pitch out we've seen today.
It is. Coach Jagoda, a big proponent of limiting the opponent's running game. Having seen a bunch of games, Dunkirk team pitches out a fair amount.
And Zatorsky had Vandette fooled in that he was breaking back towards first base on the pitch. And what a weapon that is. I mean, even on a base hit, you're taking away another. He's not going to be able to advance. Second definitely sets up double play or force out a second if the runner's breaking the wrong way.
Gives you a chance on a hit for the outfield to keep him off of third base.
Absolutely. Real short lead by Vandette, too.
A little slide step by Zatorsky. That's a fly ball to Lockett.
Taking his hat
Takes
off.
Takes his hat off on the way in.
I don't think that's how coaches draw that up, but you got to run it on to hold your hat in your hand and catch it. But he caught it and no charge there.
We've got Davis up here again. He had a beautiful bunt single in the first inning. I'm wondering here if Coach Gullo won't put something in order, whether it be of a hit and run variety or a bunt and run or something to put the runner in motion here, try to get him in scoring position. I think it's his. It seems like his strategy throughout the day is going to be to try to score with one hit.
Yeah, he's going to
get a man on, get him over, and try to get one hit out of the next two to score a run, as opposed to string 3 or 4 hits together.
Nice stop by Messina. I was honestly a little surprised I didn't see a bunt out of Schrader there. Schrader's one of the better hitters, but his average is just over 200 himself. Again, there's only 2 hitters hitting over 300 for Fredonia for the season. Vandette on first and Davis in the box right now.
There's a base hit, kind of an in-between play to Segura. It was a line drive that wasn't able to play on the air. Kind of short hopped him and got over, but I think that's a clean single.
Yeah, I think it might have gone off the end of the bat just a little. When it was first hit.
Yeah, had a little spin on it.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a hot shot, but then you saw it dying and it kept fading away and away for Segura. Fortunate for Davis, second time on base, 2 hits for tonight. And now Helmer, who popped up the foul play to Lansky, his first at bat. What a stop again by Messina. And what a luxury that is. That should be, in most catchers in this league, that's runners in second and third right now with that pitch. But he able to smother that ball and stopped it right in front of home plate.
I think it does a lot of things, too. It changes the strategy for the other coach. If you're not, pass balls are kind of baked into your analysis as a coach.
Yeah, Helmer chased a high fastball. It would have been 2-0 count there, a little over anxious. And what do you see happen so many times when you chase a pitch out of the zone? The next pitch you take one right down the middle. So for Helmer's sake, hopefully he doesn't do that. But you see that time and time again by a batter. This time it does get by Messina. And honestly, that went between Messina's legs, and you don't see that. He almost came up too high, expecting a bigger hop, I think, on that pitch. Tough play. It's a wild pitch without, but you see Messina stop that more times than not. And that's just giving him props on that. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. Yeah, I think a little frustration on the Dunkirk side here. I think Coach Gullo had yelled out step out, call time in the middle as the pitchers lined up. A little bit of a A stressful reaction there from the guys in the room. But there we go. We got another pass ball. They're going to score another one here. Oh, no.
Good job by
backed up by Segura.
And I'll give Scotty Krasinski credit, too. He's coming in hard, and where's the first baseman? Lansky's in there, too. He wasn't staying at first base. And as a coach and a baseball fan, there's always something to do, right? Isn't that what you always teach your kids? So good job there by all three of those infielders to save another run on that pass ball, got by Zatorsky from Messina.
That's where we mean that the pass ball wild pitch is kind of baked into your offense. You do your efforts to get them into scoring position, knowing that a pitch in the dirt scores runs in high school baseball that you don't see in Major League or college baseball.
And I would say Fredonia scored at least 50% of the runs on pass balls this year.
There is squares the bunt. Not a squeeze, a safety squeeze. They're going to have a play.
And they would have, but Lansky and Zatorsky ran into each other, allowing Davis to score. Now, what do we call that? Because they were going home all the way.
I think it's a fielder's choice.
Sack bunt, safe at first. Yep. I would agree on that. And I think you're right. Davis was not coming in the beginning, so he feels that cleanly. He's dead meat at home. But nonetheless, Fredonia squirts out another ugly run and takes a lead here in top of the third.
Yep. Again, I guess we kind of had a ball hit out of the infield here with Davis' single that squirted by Segura, but nothing really roped as far as hits go.
No.
The ball's in play, and it really comes down to, are you going to field the ball that's hit on the ground and make your plays at first base?
Here's big Owen Rush with a big swing and a miss on strike one. Zatorsky wants another ball here. His jersey's coming unbuttoned. And you brought up early pitch count. He's up to 59 pitches already it's my count anyway, here in the top of the third. That's a lot of pitches on a hot day. Frustrated, he's not giving up a lot of hard hit balls, and he's finding himself down 4-3 in the top of the third.
No, he's definitely not getting hammered around the ballpark, but we're also seeing a lot of free bases given away. We've had, four bases this inning on wild pitches, a couple of walks. And it's one of those where if you give extra bases away, whether it be through errors or walks or wild pitches, that, odds on are they're going to come around to score eventually.
Oh, that's a nice pitch there by Zatorsky. Owen Rush was way off balance out in front of that, and it wasn't two-strike swing, but it might as well have been because he just fouled that off to get a piece of it, to get ahead 1-2.
I think young Mr. Rush is going to see probably a steady diet of off-speed pitches
Until
here, especially now that Nick's up in the count. If you're Zatorsky, you want to make sure that you don't spin one and leave a cement mixer in the middle of the plate there that he can, bang deep.
That was a fastball, though. It proved us both wrong.
Looked like it was off the plate away.
Maybe.
Good job for him to put the bat on the ball.
Yeah. But I think you're right. You're going to look for off-speed pitch coming back here without a doubt.
I don't think you're going to see many,
centered
up fastballs just get me over pitches.
No. And you'd be interested. Now, again, the respect for Messina here. If you're Coach Gullo, you're anticipating curveballs here too, and you're not sending Helmer that has good speed, at least not yet. And that was a pitch in the dirt. Messina almost fooled Helmer. Nice acting job there by the veteran backstop. Almost drew an out for Dunkirk. A real heads-up play. I love it.
Evens the count up at 2s on a curveball down.
And that's the 0-2 curveball that they were looking for. That's a good 1-2 in the dirt. You have a runner on first, so he swings and misses. He can't go any way.
I think you very well might see it again here. Nope, fastball down.
Nice job.
That's a good sequence.
Absolutely. Took the words out of my mouth there, and that's a big second out for Dunkirk. And Zatorsky really bearing down. Think about it. He went back. He asked for a new ball. Caught his breath a little bit. That you don't see that from Nick a year or two ago. So good job for his maturation as a baseball player and getting a big out there.
Yeah, it's definitely a big step forward and a good response pitch here after having a frustrating beginning to the inning. There's a foul ball. Gets on top of the next hitter.
And I see a little bit more velocity right now, too. And I've heard Coach Shigoda yell to him, throw it, go be aggressive, and he even grunted on that fastball a little bit. So, got ahead on the hitter, I guess. And Trevor Persh is up, who walked his first at bat.
Well, this kind of got us in trouble, or got Nick in trouble here. The previous inning, he got out of it in the second, but we allowed 8-9 to get on and had to pitch the top of the order.
Yeah.
If nothing else, you're letting the lineup cycle through again and again and again, and getting at bats to Coach Gullo's top of his order. This is really, regardless of what happens here, his leadoff hitter is going to get a at bat here.
That's a tough spot here.
Runs well. Got him. It's
Good
a nice play by Scotty.
Absolutely. That's a real big play. There's a lefty person. Nice job getting out of the box, too. So big defensive play for Dunkirk to get out of that inning after 2.5 to score. Fredonia 4, Dunkirk 3. And I think we'll take a quick break here and be back with you at the bottom of the third.
We're back here about to start the top of the third inning. Shannon, we had the opportunity to talk to Judd Foy, the home plate umpire, here during the crossover break to get some clarification on that call at first base to end the bottom of the second inning. And we were wrong on all three counts.
Yes, we were. I did not think of that possibility.
What turns out has happened, as the umpires conferred, is the player actually, as he was running to first base, inadvertently stepped on home base when attempting to, or stepped on first base when attempting to make a tag. There isn't any intent on that. If you step on first base, you step on first base, and the runner was out before any of that excitement took place on the play.
Absolutely, and honestly, from our angle, we would never see that.
No.
And it appeared to me anyway that he was too far from first base to even do that. But obviously, we can't see his back feet, and you don't have. It's kind of like inside-outside pitch where we're sitting. You can't tell, right?
Right.
And so, I mean, good job by the umpiring crew if that was the case to see that, because that's a tough call, and you're not looking for that. You know,
And it was incredibly gracious of Judd to come over here and take our question and answer it for us so that we could share that at home.
Yeah.
Because we've been guessing the rest of the afternoon and never stumbled upon what the actual answer to the question was.
And he did say Messina would not have been out of the baseline, too, just for the viewers.
That he maintained within his 3 feet of. I guess he has 3 feet of where the player is. When he's attempting to make the tag, you've got 3 feet of the player to go around. So
not the baseline?
Right.
Okay. I was thinking it was the baseline in my head. That's why I was thinking he was outside.
So he would have been close regardless. But at that point in time, didn't matter.
No.
Unbeknownst to us, he was already out. Ludwig misses away with the first fastball of the bottom of the third.
Javi DeJesus leading off. Javi has a single up the middle. The first at bat and scored a run. Slapped one to left field.
A fair ball.
And it is a fair ball. And we talked about that earlier. Javi DeJesus using the whole field as a junior in his younger ages. You did not see that out of Javi. He would have tried to pull that pitch and pop it out or rolled it over to second base.
You absolutely did not. It is a young Mr. DeJesus, after starting the season, not necessarily slow, but another one that was starting batting down in the batting order.
Yeah, he was a 7-hitter at best in the beginning of the year.
He's got his batting average up above 300. He's really stroking the ball as of late, and it's just line drive after line drive. We joked at our game at Olean, we had the opportunity to play under the lights at a beautiful Allegheny complex last Friday. We joked that Javi was going to transfer to Allegheny Limestone because he's hitting about 900 on the turf out there this year. Just line drive after line drive over the second baseman and shortstop's head. Donovan Lockett getting the bunt down. That'll advance Javi to third.
Owen Rush was really late. Alex Rush is really late getting there. And I got to give Owen Ludwig some credit there not to throw that away because you're so used to getting up and getting rid of it. But you saw that pump fake. I don't know if you could see Alex or not. He was waiting for a second baseman to get to first base and was able to still get the out, but good sack bunt by Lockett.
And that brings Nick Marzowitz, another one who runs real well. I wouldn't be incredibly surprised here to see Coach Jagoda pull something out of Coach Gullo's book here and have him lay another bunt down.
And Fredonia's looking at that too. Both Kirsch and Owen Rush are way in on the grass, couple feet in on the grass, anticipating a possible bunt. And Marshall is also a track star, so he's
run 100 meters.
Yeah, he's definitely a good person to do this with. The Jesus doesn't have the best speed on third base. Good pitch at the knees there by Ludwig. Gets the call. I think it's getting warmer here, Kory. At least I'm getting warmer here in my work pants. And
we are dead set in the sun, that is for certain.
Yeah.
The next time we have this good idea, it's time to bring some shade with us, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
One misses down, evens the count at 1-1.
So far, he hasn't squared the bunt. Doesn't mean he still cannot, though. You know, any ground ball up the middle here would score to Jesus with a short and second back.
Yep. That should do it right there. That's a fly ball to deep center field.
Gullo got a great jump on it and made a real nice over-the-shoulder catch, but there's no way he's going to throw out the runner. And Marszewitz really tattooed that ball, and Gullo was a little better, making a real nice catch in center field.
It's a productive out right there by Nick Marzowitz. He's making a start, getting a chance to DH.
Yeah.
He's one of those that's in and out of the lineup depending on what the situation is. Dunkirk really fields a couple of different lineups based on who's on the mound for them.
Sure.
Javier DeJesus typically plays third when he's not pitching. When Nick Zatorsky's pitching, he's to their first baseman. That brings first baseman into play where they have to make some substitutions and move people around. So
Javi's played some first too, hasn't he?
He has played some first. Normally, he's been the regular third baseman. It's settled in. A curveball down and away.
Just outside, yep.
Settled into the regular third baseman when he's not pitching. And Bryson Travis has played a bunch of third when Javi's been on the mound.
Okay.
And then what Coach Jagoda's done when Nick Zatorsky's pitched, he's still, I think, looking for that perfect lineup for himself there. He's played Jack Lansky at first sometimes. We've actually had Michael Norton move into the infield and play first base and have Nick Marzowitz play some left field. Again, you mentioned the way he runs. Covers a lot of ground out there, so he's tried some different things at first base. That ball stays fair. It's going to be trouble. It looks like it's going to get down and fair. It's a heck of a play cutting the ball off by Davis in right field. That was a double off of the bat that he turned into a single.
Yeah,
a double at least, because for those not familiar or can't see on the video here, in Dunkirk, that's kind of an odd corner there. It's not a square angle in there, and that ball tends to kick all over the place.
Yep. So Zatorsky absolutely ropes a line drive 99% of the time. That is an extra base hit. Davis kept it to one, and that with 2 outs, that could be a big play, maybe saving a run. We'll see what kind of difference it makes with Scotty Grzinski coming up to bat. He grounded out too short his first at-bat.
First pitch down for a ball.
Ludwig falls behind 2-0 against Scott Grzinski, and catcher Van Dijk calls time, and the infield comes in. And Coach Gullo's coming out to have a little talk here. You know, Dunkirk's able to tie it up here 4-4, and Fredonia wants to stop it at that with 2 outs here and just a runner on first.
Well, if this was a football game, Shannon, we'd call this a whoever has the ball last wins type of game. It's back and forth, and at some point in time over the next couple innings, one of these teams is going to have a shutdown inning and probably sway the game in their favor because it's score a run, go up a run, score 2, give up 3. We're just going back and forth the whole game.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're a betting man, compared to how the two teams have hit the ball, you know, the odds of it scoring continuing is much higher for Dunkirk. Fredonia is just like little dink and dunk scoring. Dunkirk, is earning their runs. They're smacking the ball all over the field, making Fredonia really make plays and getting extra base hits.
Yeah, you know, for years, though, Coach Gullo's managed to keep his team in games with small ball. We mentioned the last time they played that Fredonia won this league. I think they won this league with 1 loss in the league, if I remember right, that year.
That was to you, Dunkirk.
And they did not have 11-win talent that year. Before the season, everybody thought it was going to be an even league with a bunch of teams in the 8-4, 9-3 area, and they make outs when they need to.
And that'll do it. Krasinski pops up on a 2-0 count just out of the infield to Alex Rush for the 3rd out, but not before Dunkirk is able to tie it up on a couple big hits, long hits, and a nice sac fly by Marcewicz, making it 4-4 after 3, and we'll take a quick break. We get back to the top of 4.
Back in Dunkirk to start the 4th inning here of a 4-4 ball game between Dunkirk and Fredonia. Nick Zatorsky looking to have a bounce back inning.
Play a good dice game. Number 9 hitter Joe Gullo leading off, DHing tonight, and he had a big single to score a run in the first, roped a hard ball at Javi DeJesus, was able to knock it down but couldn't quite come up with it, so 1 for 1 today.
Both teams kind of operate with some pretty non-traditional lineups here. We've Dunkirk DHing for their first baseman, Fredonia DH in the 9 spot. Some things, if all you do is watch professional baseball, you're not going to see a whole lot.
Absolutely. So you got a 2-0 count here to start the top of the 4th in a 4-4 game. Sorry, 3-0. I missed the pitch.
I missed the pitch as well.
Too much talking by us, but no one's ever accused either of us to be quiet,
That
Kory.
is true.
So no one's surprised on that one.
That is the
I would like to know what the over and under on bloodshed between the two of us was, though, going in the game with the dunk. So far, so good here. Yeah, no, it's been a great time.
That's the infamous, I guess we'll call it, walk the leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
They say in the big leagues that guy scores about 65% of the time. I bet you the number's much higher than that in high school baseball.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Especially in this particular case, you walk 9 to pitch to 1, 2, 3. I think Coach Gullo's probably looking. Well, he's going to be disappointed this inning ends without that run scoring.
Right, and he definitely saw the sac bunt by Rush, took it for a ball the first time. He was not squaring there for ball 2, so that's interesting. But I will say this about the Fredonia lineup. They're also not traditional 1, 2, 3. There's no, like, overpowering part. Ball in the dirt, 3-0. Now 7 consecutive balls by Satorsky. So there's really no getting through any part.
No, each one takes
pretty
pitches.
yeah.
Each one tries to put the bat in the ball.
Got the low strike there, and 3-1 now. Rush is heading to first already. You do have more experience at the top. That's the biggest difference for Fredonia. But you look at averages, numbers, there's really not. Geez, real slow, delayed reaction by Gullo at first. Kind of took it for granted he's going to get back easy, and I think he was just in there, but it was much closer than it should have been. He wasn't leaning or anything. He kind of just took a slow half step towards first to start.
There the bunt's back on. Oh, the ball's up.
Good job by Gullo getting back. Good job by Satorsky hopping on that pop-up. And that's a big out, big mistake there by the senior Alex Rush.
I think we're going to have a pitching change made here, Shannon. We got Coach Jagoda going out, putting Scott Korzinski in on the mound. Looks like Zatorsky to first base, and we got one other defensive change. Looked like Bryson Travis heading out to play second base. We'll have to get the batting order implications for that for Dunkirk, because there is going to be a
Marcewicz going out.
No, it's 10. That's Travis.
Oh, you're right.
So
the ponytails confuse me
They
sometimes.
have very similar hairstyles,
Yeah.
so we are going to have some sort of batting order implication with that substitute. And
So Korzinski's going to the mound. And that's a disappointing out. You can tell Coach Gullo's got his helmet off over the bench, and he does not like to see those wasted outs like that. You're giving up and out with a sac bunt, but it's got to be productive.
Nick's still hitting? Okay, yeah.
the substitution on that one's actually just it is affecting the lineup, but Bryson Travis is going to go in for Jack Lansky defensively. The DH is going to stay in and still be Nick Marcewicz at this point in time. That actually gives Coach Jagoda some flexibility in the batting order. You've got two different type of hitters in the lineup, and gives them some options.
Yeah, with different base runners, righty, lefty, absolutely. He's a veteran coach and just won his 450th game. Was that the right number?
350th versus
the other night, and that's
Allegheny.
That's a real feat out there. There's not many coaches in all of high school that is able to achieve that accomplishment.
You're absolutely correct, because that not only is longevity in there, but it's longevity plus wins. You don't just get to that. I believe it's Frank's 27th season here at Dunkirk, so part of the way through your 27, well, and I'm actually doing the math here, it's probably functionally like 26 factored in that we didn't have a year last year.
Right.
That's winning 12, 13 games a year on average over that time period. Scotty Korzinski starts him off with a strike, top of the zone fastball. A little more zip from Scott than Nick Zatorsky. A little different look as far as tempo on the mound too. It's much quicker delivery.
Big swooping curveball. Must have a little inside possibly there.
I think so.
We called it high.
A little up.
But
Coach Jagoda inquired as well as to where it was.
And to our viewers, I apologize. Apparently we've been shaking the table here, and it's shaking the camera. So don't blame anyone but myself. I'm sitting right underneath it. So I apologize for that, but for the blurry, is not not our guys here. Gabe and Dylan have done a nice job. High
Well
fly
struck
ball.
Looks like Alex Ahlstrom's back underneath it, makes the play. We'll get it in.
Just got underneath that a little bit to make it more of a routine fly ball, but he got a lot of it.
Yeah, it was a deep, well-struck ball. It was on the barrel.
So you brought up that 60-plus percentile of scoring on a walk,
Yeah.
and now that sack bunt being popped up and not advancing the runner is huge here. So now you have 2 outs after that fly ball, and Joe Gullo's still at first base after a leadoff 4-pitch walk.
You get Joey Vendetup, who's, again, having a big season offensively.
Yeah, 1 for 2 of the day with a single at the middle. Joe Gullo, rare stolen base here against Messina.
He had a pitch out in the play, too. The throw was down a little bit and then took a funky hop and over the glove of Segura.
Yeah, and you know, there's no two coaches that know themselves each other better than Gullo and Jagoda. And Jagoda made the right call there, and his senior catcher couldn't quite execute it, and I don't think he's happy with that. Because when you make that right call, it feels good, right? You got your opponent, you coach how many games against each other, and the player of all players.
Good
yeah.
curveball on the outer half.
And that's the Fredonia hitters are going to have to react to that curveball because it's real slow and it takes a long time to get back in the zone, but it tends to. There's a big line drive hit by Vandette. A little hesitation, but he is going to gun out Joe Gullo at second or at home by Donovan Lockett.
That is a heck of a throw by Donnie Lockett, who's another one that he's a senior but never played varsity outfield until this year. Has really developed into a good outfielder. It was a little adventurous at times at the beginning of the season with him out there. Coach Jagoda over the year has become incredibly confident with him out there in right field, and that was a strike right to Phil Messina. All he had to do was catch it and hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was an easy catch and tag for Messina, and he clutched, too. That's what made that throw. Oftentimes, when you see an outfielder do that, you're like, he's safe. They're going to double clutch. You're going to throw it away. But that ball was hit hard enough. It gave Lockett that extra time, and then he threw an absolute strike to home and made up for leadoff walk and got Dunkirk out of the jam 4-4 after 3.5 and see if they can take that momentum to the plate.
I think, just to talk about this from a Fredonia perspective, I think 100 times out of 100, if you're Coach Gullo, you have to send him on that play.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a clean single, 2 outs. He's off on the crack of the bat. He didn't hesitate. Took a perfect throw in a tag, and the kid made a good throw online, and you tip your hat and say, if that happens again later on in the game, I'm going to do it again and make him do it a second time.
Absolutely. I mean, if there's no outs or maybe even 1 out, you might not send them. But with 2 outs, you're definitely sending your runner there all day long. And Lockett was just equal to the task.
Yeah, and it's especially the way this game's kind of unfolded here. We've had some misplays in the field. We've had some throws offline and some errant throws. If you have a chance to put the pressure on the other team and make them make a play, he made Dunkirk make a play. To their credit, that inning they made the play.
Absolutely.
Now you see offensively, you've got 9-1-2 up. If Segura can get on base and set the table again and see if the top of the Dunkirk order can make some noise and answer back on a good defensive, it could be that shutdown inning we were talking about of who throws up a 0 first and lets their offense build up a pad.
Yeah, who makes a big defensive play to kind of change the confidence and the momentum and so on, because I mean, really, defensively, I would say as a whole, this game, not season, but whole, Dunkirk's been on their heels a little bit, and it's cost them a few runs. Not there. That was a big play.
That was a big defensive play. Dunkirk has battled through some defensive challenges throughout the year.
Has everyone.
And I think that we keep coming back to it. I think that, again, is a lot of these players lost a lot of baseball, and they're growing through themselves. I mean, the kids that don't play summer ball, that baseball isn't their primary sport, it's tough because they went a whole year without reps.
Absolutely.
I think I might have fired young Mr. Ludwig up here a little bit. That fastball right there had some zip on it.
It did have some extra heat on it. So Let's see if Ludwig can settle in. There's 2 in a row, back-to-back strikes, and he's working a little quicker now too, Kory. Let's see if that works to his advantage or not. Now, I have seen, and that was way too good of a pitch on 0-2 there. You know, one of the mistakes Ludwig has made all season long as a pitcher is throwing too good of a pitches on an 0-2 account, and he's got burned by it a couple times, including a big inning in the top of the 7th against Olean in the league opener.
It's one of those where these pitchers are learning to balance, and coaches are learning to coach in a new world. Back when we played, those 0-2 pitches were definite waste pitches. The ball hit the short. Schrader with the play. And a nice play at first base gets him out.
Yeah, that honestly wasn't much different ball than Louis' first hit.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
5 feet farther to the right.
Yeah, exactly. And Schrader made a nice play. And it's a big first out for Ludwig with this top of the order coming up. And here's Alex Ahlstrom, who roped a monstrous triple to center field his last at bat.
That ball's the right center. That one I think is going to hang a little bit. No, that one's in the hole. Big turn by Ahlstrom.
You know, if you look at where that is, Dom Gullo must have him playing the pole.
He was straight at the pole.
Because Simon Davis fielded that almost in center field on one hop. And I was looking at Simon, and he kept looking at Dom, expecting him to call that. And he just, I don't know if Dom didn't see it off the bat or what. We do know this sun is brutal on the left side. But that's a break. That ball probably should have been caught, but it drops for a single for Ahlstrom.
It definitely was hit the way the wind here at Dunkirk is blowing from right field. Ball down a little bit. Ahlstrom will advance to second. From the right field line across the field and out to left field is the normal wind pattern here. That ball was hit well, but it was hit to right center and kind of hung up in that wind. That's a ball that if you're playing straight up, I think you're definitely expecting to catch. I think based on playing Alex in the fall and then the at-bat this morning, that Dom was both deep and shading to left center, which made it a really long run. That one hit right at us.
That probably would have caught you right in the nose if it wasn't for the fence.
You're not kidding. It was right at us.
Yeah, that would.
So, but that's one of those where, you know, as a hitter, you figure those things are going to equalize themselves out. Because
right, you earn that out of respect. You know, you earn that respect, and then you got a break and you get a hit out of it, where most hitters would have been could have been a routine fly ball.
Down would have been 5 steps in and 5 steps over. There's a fly ball.
And that's another blooper. Long way to go for Gullo and Helmer, and they can't get there. Oh, you would have, and Gullo would have fallen down.
Yeah, if you know, that's one of those things where if you know what you know now, then you go, but you don't. Ball's in front of him. You can't really get off the base more than 10 steps or so, because if you do and he comes up with it, you're going to get doubled off, and you're trying to make an inning out of this here. So it's one of those in-betweeners. And
it's from Fredonia's perspective and Ludwig and Coach Gull's perspective, you're thinking those might be out pitches. You just threw to 2 of the best hitters in the league, and they're 2 singles.
Yep, and now you've got Phil Messina, who's hitting a little above. Well, actually, he's 1 for 2 on the day here, so he's going to continue to hit exactly 500 for the season.
And then Javi, who's, 2 for 2 after him, and Lockett, who's hit well right after him. So, really puts Ludwig in a bind here.
This is where Owen and Joey Vendette need to kind of bear down, because what you can't have happen here is what happened to Dunkirk in the top of the 3rd, where you give away a free base on a ball that scoots away, and now a hit scores 2, or a ground ball scores. Ball down.
Wow, that looked... You know, we had a couple where for both sides we're looking at, I thought that might have been a strike, but not a bad pitch to Messina.
No, it's the old, you're not going to get hurt there pitch that the coach calls out from the dugout. That ball is roped on the left field line. Fair. It's going to score Ahlstrom. Norton to 3rd. I think he's going to be held there.
Yeah.
And Phil with an RBI double.
So there's those top 3 making their opponent pay again. Get on base and extra base hits, driving them in. Still only 1 out for Dunkirk. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. Looking to make the lead even bigger. And here comes Coach Gullo.
going to be interesting to see how Coach Gullo plays this because we're getting a little later in the game here. Actually, it looks like we're going to have a pitching change here. I think
Well, that's Nicky
Frazier?
Frazier coming in. Ludwig's not liking that. Frazier's going. Is he going on the mound or is he going to third?
Coach Gullo's still got the ball in his hands.
So here's what I'm guessing. Schrader's coming in.
Yep. He just handed the ball.
Frazier's going to go to third. Alex Rush is going to short. Owen Rush is going to go to second. That is my guess, just based on what we've done in the past, or Fredonia's done in the past. And that looks like exactly what's going to happen here.
I think both coaches are coaching to the pitch count rules today, Shannon.
Yeah.
Both kids out with under 70 pitches. That opens them up to options during the week.
Now, you thought maybe if Ludwig might go a little higher, because I don't think Fredonia plays on Wednesday. They play on Friday, so it gives you a few more pitches to throw.
Yeah, before you have to come back?
Yes.
Let's see here.
But he has, the top of the order has hit him hard as well. And good for Ludwig. He did not want to come out of the game. And I like a compare. You don't want kids that want to come out of the game either. So good for him. But Schrader has done a nice job for Fredonia on the year as well. If I pull back here, I can pull up some pitching stats for him in just a second.
Frazier to third. We'll confirm where Frazier's going to bat, what the substitution
he
was.
will. My guess, he's taken Ludwig's spot and will be DH for. Continue to be DH for. But again, that's just.
We'll check with Coach Gullo as he walks by to start the next inning, just to make sure we've got that right. Yeah, Gabe did a really nice job against Dunkirk, especially his first couple of times through the order, and keeping them off balance. He's another one, doesn't throw tremendously hard, but takes it a little off, puts a little on, uses all quadrants of the plate. And, Gabe and Alex actually have played together for quite some time when they were younger kids. Has been playing a lot of games of travel ball and everything else since he was real young. So one of the ones probably less affected by the shutdown because he played a bunch of ball last summer and is a veteran ball player. And
honestly, this is the best I've ever seen Gabe pitch on the big diamond. Even last summer, Simon and Gabe played in 2 travel teams together, and he was hit or miss, but he's been rock solid this year. He's only 1-2, but that's not his fault. His ERA is outstanding. It's a 1.4. He leads the team in that of people that have pitched normally. He also leads the team in hits batters with 6, with strikeouts as well with 22.
But
so
if you're not an overpowering guy, you can't be afraid to pitch inside. Like I said, that's one of the things he, like I said, uses all 4 quadrants of the plate. He's going to come in, then go away. Little up, little down. You talk about the top of this Dunkirk order, and I was just looking through here. So Ahlstrom at the top has scored 2 runs today. That brings him to 24 on the season. And this is the 13th game, so approaching 2 runs a game. While you factor that in with Messina scored 11 runs and Norton scored 11 runs, that's almost 4 runs scored a game from your top 3 hitters.
You're going to win a lot of games that way, without a doubt. All right, Javi is to lead off against Gabe.
Gabe starts with a strike. The other thing about Gabe is he is not typically going to walk people.
No. And these two squared off on the mound against each other in the first game and both pitched lights out. And Gabe reaches out to get that one. It's going to be another blue pit in there.
The good read by Phil Messina, seeing that ball down, advancing to third. And that's Javi's going to score again. Now, Javi was actually 3 for 4 in that first game against Gabe. I believe 2 of those at-bats were against Gabe. The last one's in the 7th inning. I think that was against the relief pitcher in that game. But that gives Javi his 3rd hit and 5 at-bats off of Gabe Schrader on the season.
So Lockett is 0 for 1 with a sac bunt and a ground ball to short today. Dunkirk is now up 6-4 in the bottom of 4. Still runner on third and only 1 out of the inning, first and third to be exact. And Gabe's trying to keep Javi honest here, obviously expecting a steal attempt on first and third situation. And second batter in a row, Gabe started off for the first pitch strike.
Both pitching changes are very similar. Both a little more. Looks like Gabe has a little more velocity than Ludwig did. Korzinski a little more velocity than Zatorsky did, giving the opponent something different to look at. That's a ball up. It's going to be another tough play. They're like hitting that Bermuda Triangle of plays. Oh, they're going to challenge young Dom Gullo.
And this throw
Phil scores.
And, you know, because of Dom having to run away from it, his feet were not set.
Yes.
That's a good job by Coach Jagoda. And I don't think Dom even expected that. He was so happy to get to one. They did appeal to third, and he did not leave early according to the umpires, so that's all that matters. But a nice productive at-bat now for another one for Lockett here, getting an RBI.
That's the similar concept that we said about Coach Gullo last inning. The ball's taking Dom Gullo towards the left field line. If the outfielder can run away from where he's throwing it, put his foot in the ground and throw a strike to home plate and get your guy out at home, you tip your hat to him and you say nice play, but you make him make that throw every single time and be aggressive and challenge the opponent.
Absolutely. If he caught that ball, or if Helmer caught that ball standing, you're probably not sending him.
Probably not. Or even if it's hit straight at him where he's got his momentum coming in. But he was running more towards the left field line than he was towards home base. So his momentum, he was throwing across his body. And it's tough to get anything of velocity-wise of consequence. You know, all considering he made a representative throw towards home plate. He was just slightly offline, and Phil was able to avoid the play.
I will say Javi himself did not advance in that play. I don't know if he was halfway down possibly. I was watching the left side here anyway.
I think it's very likely that him, like us, was watching what was happening in front of him.
Well, and he might have been going halfway in case that dropped in.
Correct,
too.
Because you don't get doubled off at second.
Right. So which eliminated the chance for him to tag. Fake bunt, or at least didn't think it was a strike by Marcewicz there, going down with making it 2-2.
I think he thought that one was a hair down.
Yeah.
Right on the edge of the strike zone.
And Frazier is back, so that's track star, as we mentioned earlier, not a terrible idea.
Well, the way Nick runs, if he bunts to first base and can get past whoever fields the ball before they pick it up, or get the ball and make the third baseman field it, he's going to be tough to get out.
Javi's going on the play.
That makes him make the throw. That's a
good scoop by Persh there at first.
Yep.
Get out of the inning, but not before Dunkirk is able to score 3, taking the lead 7-4 after 4.
I think we'll take a quick break on the transition here, and we'll be back for the top of the 5th inning here in a moment.
All right, we're back here. Kory Ahlstrom, Shannon Davis, Fredonia at Dunkirk. Second of third matchup. We didn't mention that earlier. The league's a little different. Each team plays 3 times this year. Dunkirk finds himself with a 7-4 lead after a 3-run bottom of the 4th. And Gabe Schrader's leading it off versus Scott Korzinski with a called strike.
Yeah, Scott's actually got some pretty, I'm going to call it clutch or high pressure. Curveball up, ground ball to Louis Segura. Steps, throws, and Nick Zatorsky holds it back at first base for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, and that's a real calm play by the shortstop. You're thinking, like, why is he holding on it? Why is he holding on it? But he's confident in his arm, and he had him by a step or two at first. No problem.
The Dunkirk's nemesis thus far today. Davis steps into the box. He's 2 for 2 with a bunt single and then a hard shot to the left side that was a single. They were saying Scotty Korzinski is taking some really key innings. He's thrown 7 total innings for Dunkirk against Southwestern. There's a curveball up and in, never came down except for on a shoulder. So he's thrown 7 innings against Southwestern, both times in late innings and extra innings, surrendered 2 total runs, and really has been a calming influence on the mound and has been one of Coach Jagoda's first go-tos in key situations.
And in years in the past, calming and Scott Krasinski never went together in all the years playing against and watching Scott and Marauders play, but he's had a real nice junior season for Dunkirk's been clutch, and he gets a pop-up here by Helmer on the first pitch. And Segura has that for the second out of the inning. Freshman Owen Rush is up to bat. Owen is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts today.
Yeah, the impressive thing here with Scott is he's challenge hitters typically in these games.
And that would have been a good pitch to run on there.
Numbers look a little deceiving in that. He's got a game with Southwestern where it shows 5 base on balls, but I think 3 of those were intentional late in the game to put force plays in place where he only had 2 on his own. But typically makes the batter earn his way on.
Yeah, and he has no fear, which you got to love as a coach. You get up there and do his thing. He doesn't care what people think or what he looks like. He just goes at it, and he does Scotty's thing, and he's done it well so far this year.
Yep. Got a 3-0 count on Owen Rush here. It's another one where I know it's down in the order, but he might be the one player in Fredonia's batting order that can hurt you with power. It's not something that you want to just lay in a get-me-over fastball here. You want to make a quality pitch. And there it is, inner third.
No. And I think that was a take all the way he addressed the ball, but we'll never know for sure. It's 3-1 now, 2 outs. Davis on first. See if he's got to expect another fastball here, so probably not going. And that is ball 4. So a runner in scoring position here with 2 outs for the junior Trevor Persh, who is getting pitch hit for here. Jaden Whitfield, who is done a halfway decent job coming in off the bench and pitch hitting for Fredonia. Has multiple pinch hits this year. And talk to you a little bit about Whitfield, Kory. Sorry to interrupt. I know you're about to say something, but Whitfield didn't even play fall ball.
Oh.
Okay. He came and watched, and I'm like, I wonder if Jaden's going to play, because he was a Forestville kid for years, and he moved to Fredonia, played some football, but he didn't even play fall ball. So it's been a long time since Jaden has really played baseball, and he's done a nice job this year.
Well, Coach Gullo's been waiting for this one since the first inning. Jaden's had a bat in his hand and a helmet behind the dugout, swinging and staying loose. I believe Coach is waiting for an opportunity with a runner in scoring position with somebody that he could utilize the bat to try to sneak a run in here.
And that's going to spark a time call here by Coach Jagoda. That's what, falling 2-0 behind Whitfield. When you take a 3-run lead in a game like this and you got 2 outs and you don't want to mess around. You want to make the other team beat you. Don't give them these free passes. And just watching Coach Gulliver mannerisms here, he's used to just killers, right? Jaden Whitfield is just one of those kids that never looks like he's just a happy-go-lucky guy. And Gullo wants him to be out there like, let's go. And Jaden's just relaxed, unaware of the situation, that he's in a big spot. But sometimes that makes you successful, you know?
Keeps you loose, keeps you from over-squeezing the bat.
And he hits him. So 2 hit batters and a walk here, loading the bases for Fredonia. And, I mean, in a situation, a game like this, you have to score here.
Yes.
You know,
looks like that's gonna be Mr. Whitfield's entire outing for today. He's going to be
So
re-entered
Persh
for.
is re-entered, and Andrew Camp is actually going to pinch run for Owen Rush. And Andrew Camp, a senior, one of the nicest kids you're ever going to meet in the world. Played football, too. Played football. He gives you 190% in every pitch. He's been used primarily as a pinch runner, and he's done a pretty nice job. So any base hit here with his speed, he's going to have a good chance to score.
Yeah, Coach Gullo just went from a logjam on the bases to pretty good wheels at all three spots.
Yeah. I mean, with Whitfield and Rush out there, you're not talking.
Yeah.
You're not scoring on a gapper with those two.
No,
but now
you got a chance to score 3 on the double.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with 2 outs off in the crack of the bat. And here's another spot where having the veteran catcher like Messina block balls in the dirt and so on to prevent a pass ball and a free run with 2 outs. It's huge. And here's Joe Gullo. Has an RBI earlier, and he's 1 for 1 with a walk and an RBI himself. And
that's a fly ball, going to hang.
A routine ball for Ahlstrom, and he makes the catch, and they get out of the. I mean, that's a big out for Dunkirk. Before we take, you give up a walk and hit 2 batters and 0 runs in an inning. That's catching a break, and that though again. That's something that could really cost Fredonia late in this game, not being able to score there.
Well, not only that, but you made Coach Gullo fire a couple of the bullets that he'd been reserving for late in the game here. He used his first pinch hitter in Whitfield. He used his primary pinch runner at second base in Camp. So it really provides him with some limited options going down the stretch. I'm sure that if he laid out the situation that he was going to use those 2 players, that he would have wanted to be sure that it was going to generate a run for him.
Yeah, a little bit more there. The next speed guy really would be Micah Davis, the sophomore, and he has good speed, but for really has not pinch runned all that much this year. I think he saves him more just in case if he needs a guy, he can play and hit and field compared to some of the other subs. So he tends not to waste Micah in that situation. So.
Right, somebody that if you made another move, he can be the defensive
counterbalance
to that. No matter where the hole in the field is, you could plug him in there.
Yeah, because a lot of times you might see a Helmer or a Gullo come in the infield and Davis go in the outfield, or depending who, Persh could go from first to the outfield too. So that flexibility he's used with Micah Davis in other ways. So it's been, I mean, in all intents of. Not a clean played game, but it's definitely an entertaining game with a lot of different things happening. And Dunkirk just came off that big inning, and they're looking to add to this 3-run lead now after getting out of that big jam.
Well, they got we talked about this earlier. They put the first 0 up defensively in the top half of the 4th inning, answered with 3. We're able to get another 0 in the top, and this is where, as the team, you kind of show your killer instinct or not. Right. Can you put a couple of more up and it keep extending out and making Fredonia press a little bit as you come down the stretch?
Absolutely.
You don't want to fall asleep at the wheel and let the team hang around, and because we've seen this game, it's been back and forth. Because 1 inning and now it's a tie game again, and you've got things happening.
Right. And it's Nick Zatorski, the starting pitcher. Dunkirk is now playing first base, leading off. Nick is 1 for 2 with a single to right field, a hard hit ball, his last at bat.
He's gotten 1 swing in each of his at bats, if you remember. His first at bat, he hit a line drive down that same spot down the right field line, about 8 inches foul.
And I'm honestly a little surprised they're not playing him a little bit more to pull. Now, Nick's real power is right center. That's where he tends to go a lot. And Gullo's playing him straight away, and Davis is closest, or maybe a little bit towards the right field line. But there's a lot of room in left center right now.
There's a lot of room gap to gap right this second.
Well, that was a good cut there. Followed it straight back. He was right on that pitch.
This is where, if you're Coach Jagoda, you'd like a couple of these guys to get on and maybe be able to bunt here and get to the top of your order with a man in scoring position, see if those guys can cash in again.
Right, and maybe if Zatorski gets on, you might use a pinch runner.
Yep.
Herself. Oh, that foul ball caught Gullo or Van Dette pretty
right in the
good.
Shoulder, I think there.
Yeah.
Right in the...
Oh, he's smiling, so it must be that extra protection there on the throwing shoulder saved him, but that looked bad at first. Bottom of 5, 7-4 Dunkirk here in their home field. Already won the first game between Fredonia. 7-3, I believe the final score was there. But again, that was a closer game until the end. And Schrader gets Nick swinging, Zatorsky swinging for the first out of the inning.
Again, big out for Schrader here. Gets the first out of the inning. Kind of limits what you can do if you're Coach Jagoda now, even if you get a runner on, because you're not going to be able to give away outs to move people along. So it's up to Scotty Korzinski to find his way on and for Dunkirk to manufacture a run a little more traditionally.
Which they definitely can, so you get top of the order. Now, Korzinski's 0 for 2, ground out to short and pop out to second his last at bat. And he's off
speed pitch.
And that's really been Gabe's Schrader's success this year. And you mentioned it earlier, is keeping batters off balance. His pitches don't look that much different. Now you see Korzinski's big, slow curveball. And Schrader, again, a little bit like Ludwig, almost throws more of a slider than a curveball.
Yeah, tighter spin, which works two ways. Little deception, you can get off the plane of the bat, but you're not changing timing a whole lot on the pitch.
Right. Schrader's now falling behind Korzinski, going down 3-1 after a first pitch strike. And Coach Jagoda barking out orders, telling him to make sure it's there if you're swinging. And he did.
It's a good pitcher's pitch right there. 3-1 pitch on the
outside. It's a good take. You know, when you're up on the count, you don't have to swing, but now you got to at least follow that pitch off if he comes back to it. And he did, and Korzinski went down looking. And as a pitcher, you do not want to complain the umpire or the strike zone, because you want that pitch when you go on the mound, especially with a 3-run lead.
Yep.
But that's hard when you're emotional and a 16, 17-year-old young man. But that's the reality of the situation, and it might have been outside, but you want that pitch too when you go up there.
Yeah, that's really the only thing you want to say as the pitcher on that particular case. Just, I'll take that one too and go back.
That's easier said than done.
It's going to be a tough play. Nice play by Rush to field it.
And is that the first 1-2-3 inning for Fredonia?
I think that might be the first 1-2-3 inning in the game. It was a well-played inning. So at the end of 5 here, we'll go 7-4 Dunkirk. We'll be back in a minute with the top of the 6th inning. Back at Ahlstrom Miller Field here to start the top of the 6th inning between Dunkirk Fredonia, 7-4 game. Box score looks like 7 runs on 10 hits with 2 errors for Dunkirk, 4 runs, 5 hits, and an error for Fredonia. Top of the order for both teams in the 6th inning, so this is a big inning for both pitchers. If you can get up and down in order, you likely can finish the game without seeing the top of the order again. And then for Dunkirk and Fredonia, you look at it, Fredonia has maybe the last chance to claw back in with the top, and for Dunkirk a chance to maybe put the game away in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, you don't with Fredonia. Again, their top of the order is a little different, but you don't want to go down 3 runs in the bottom or top of the 7th. So you really want to chip away here at least. And that's exactly what Dunkirk needed. First pitch, first strike. Alex Rush takes it, and here we go. Top of 6. Rivalry game.
It's a Good pitch on the outer edge right there by Scott Korzinski to go up 0-2.
Yeah, and that's, Alex Rush trying to pull an outside pitch there and was way out in front of it and off balance. Did not look good in that swing at all.
I swear here, if you're a pitcher, if you're Phil, I think you set up another 3 inches farther outside and see if he keeps going with it. And you
he
do.
Did. That's exactly right, and that's a great execution by Korzinski to get the first out and 3-pitch strikeout. You can't ask for any more out of your pitcher there.
No, that's about what you're looking for here. Right now, Dom Gullo stepping to the plate. He's 0 for 3 on the day, but is grounded out hard to third base and then flown to center field twice. So Dom looking to break through.
Yeah, Fredonia really needs base runners.
Yeah, you'd like to get somebody on here because Joey Vendette has had, a less than impressive day in the box score, but each time he's been up, he's put a ball in play or had a good swing on where he's put the barrel on the ball. So it'd be nice to get somebody on, get to second base, and see if he can drive him in.
Yeah, I mean, he had a nice single.
He had a beautiful single last time, yeah.
And then he just got an RBI stolen from him by Lockett. And again, going back to that play, that's really when the game has turned. That's the turning point of the game so far, really.
Absolutely. If they score a run there, the inning's still alive. You got a man on base. It's a 2-run game.
Schrader's up the bat.
Yep.
And then Davis after him who has a couple hits. So that really changed momentum, and Dunkirk took advantage of it and put 3 on the board after that play. Yeah,
and it's one of those things where you see all the time in high school baseball. If you list Dunkirk's outfielders and who you were going to expect to make that play, you might come to Donnie third, but he had an opportunity, made a nice play, fielded a hard ball clean, and threw an absolute strike. That's the sharpest curveball that Scott Korzinski's thrown so far today. He had babied a couple earlier on.
Yeah.
You could see that Coach Jagoda, it's the term he used, was getting on him for not throwing it. He threw that curveball with some intent, and it was a sharp breaker.
Yep, and that's the second strikeout swing where he's had the hitters way off balance, not looking foolish in baseball. And that's, that just makes you smile as a pitcher.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things where he's starting to get settled in here now after having an inning out there, getting in the flow of the game.
Vendette is 2 for 3 today and fouls off the first pitch.
It's another good swing on a good pitch down and away, but this right here is a big at-bat for Korzinski.
There's not many players out there that have taken more BP or even as much BP as Joey Vendette over his years. So it's really, that hard work is really paying off. His first year playing varsity, and he's taking advantage of it offensively as much as anyone could expect out of him.
He's really kind of grown into his role here. As a youngster, you can always tell that he loved to catch, but kind of an undersized catcher, and as he's kept with it, worked on his form, his body's grown into that, and has really caught a nice game here as well as produced defensively.
Yeah, he hasn't killed Fredonia defensively, and that was the big concern. How much is he going to hurt Fredonia defensively as catcher?
Gone a solid game today, really has grown into it. It's a good waist pitch.
Yeah.
We started to talk earlier on the game, and in today's game, that 0-2 waist pitch is kind of a bone of contention. You're in a pitch count world. You want to waste one and not give up hits, but do you want your starting pitcher? It's almost become a 1-2 pitch where it's your put away pitch. You don't want it to be fat, but you also, the non-competitive pitch in your eyes is kind of going away.
I think part of it is lack of execution with pitchers too. I think a lot of times that the coaches may be calling for it to be a little farther outside or a little lower or a little higher, and they're not executing it and getting burned too. Because you still hear coaches way too good for an 0-2 pitch, So they're not telling them to throw a strike usually on 0-2.
No, you're not. But I think it's more of a let's put it away, let's throw that curveball down and see if we can get him to offer at it. Ooh. That one was a tough one. That was about a 59-foot fastball that I think ended up going off the knee of our umpire, Judd Foy here. I think that one might have hurt.
And Coach Gullo called his player down to give Coach Judd or umpire Judd a little break.
It's just a veteran move there, showing a little respect for the umpire, because that one I think managed to find its way right through and around all the pads. And
see, I can't. This pole is literally right blocking me. I thought it just assumed it hit Phil Messina, the catcher, but it got the umpire there. 3-2 count, 2 outs.
That's a good pitch.
Probably swung at ball 4 there, but
Scotty
doesn't matter. Great inning.
Strikes out the side on 13 pitches. Now the top of the order for Dunkirk comes up here with a chance to extend the lead a little bit, give him a little bit of fluff in the 7th inning. So we'll be back in a minute. Looks like there's some substitutions for Fredonia. We'll try to sort out here in the break. Back in Dunkirk here for the bottom of the 6th. This is a big inning for Gabe Schrader as Dunkirk will have the top of the order up, trying to extend their lead heading into the 7th.
Yeah, and Gabe Schrader has no room for error here because of the scoreboard and because of the 3 hitters coming to the plate. And really, with Javi DeJesus hitting 4, and he's 3 for 3 today himself. So there's no room for error. You cannot afford to give up any more runs. You're already down by 3 going into your last at bat. So this is a tall task for any pitcher coming into this spot.
Yeah, the next 4 hitters have 8 hits between them so far. So we'll see what happens here.
And we do have one position change. Micah Davis has come into left field for Jake Helmer. And you know, thinking back, Jake Helmer did roll his ankle last game, so that could be part of that too. And lack of range maybe out there, because Jake Helmer usually is good speed and can cover a lot of ground in left field. So that could be partially motivation here for that change.
Gabe up 0-2 and hit him, and that's a problem because now you bring a very fast base runner to the play. You give Coach Jagoda some options.
Yeah, that's talk about waste pitch. It's absolutely the last thing you want to do on an 0-2
curveball too,
count.
I think. But yeah, that lets Dunkirk's offense get rolling here. This is kind of Coach Jagoda's formula for success. You get the leadoff hitter on.
He's got a big lead already at first here, so you know he's going.
Yeah, this batter here, it's not quite that simple because I know Coach Jagoda values that hole that Alex creates over there in the infield with the second baseman shading to cover and the first baseman holding on the runner to give Michael Norton, who's a dead pull hitter, some space. And you have faith that on a ground ball through the hole there, he's going to go first to third.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see him let Michael hit a pitch or 2 here before he goes.
Sure.
Gabe Schrader, I believe, thinks he's going at some point here. That's 2 quick moves to first base.
Yeah, and Schrader's another one. He's not afraid to throw over there 3-4 times.
And Persh slightly behind him.
Yeah.
Gabe has done a fantastic job getting ahead of these hitters. I'm going to go back and check, but he may have thrown a first pitch strike to every hitter so far.
If not, it's real close. That's a good point. And, you know, you got to pound that zone. And he is going. He got a huge jump. Gonna steal second easily.
Yeah, there was an It was an interesting defensive. We had a discussion about the last pitch going between the coaches and the umpires there. It was an interesting defensive decision by Fredonia. After holding Alex tight twice, they actually put the first baseman behind him there, almost conceding the base. If you're going to play behind him there,
what Fredonia does, it's a setup. They think they want the runner to think they have more room and they back pick them. That's by design. It's not conceding the base. They're trying to pick them off. They didn't call the pickoff play though.
Yeah, you're not with a good base runner in there. You're going to want to back pick that because that gives him an extra. It gives him a step that he doesn't need.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%.
And to be honest, it probably gives him a step that he's going to be safe back on because the back pick takes an extra second to happen. That's a tough defensive position to put your catcher in there, even with the pitch out.
Right. Yeah, to do it on a pitch out, too, I agree. Just got a piece of that foul ball. I almost thought the Vandette dropped it at first. It was such a slight, ticker, as you would say in Little League there. That was a definition of a ticker. You barely could even hear that one.
This is another one where it's a good position for Dunkirk. You got a runner on second base. You got a left-handed, predominantly pull hitter up who hits if he hits anything to the right side, it's going to move Ahlstrom to third and give Messina an opportunity to score a run without a hit just by hitting the ball to the outfield.
And I do question Owen Rush's positioning here. He is not playing in the pull like you brought up earlier at all. You would think you'd have him more to the right, but...
I mean, it's high school baseball, so I know these guys know each other a little bit, but Michael is kind of a spray or straight-up hitter to the outfield, but his infield outs are typically right side on the ground. He rolls over them. Yeah, his power when driving the ball, he's got a home run to left and a home run to right. Evidence there by the foul ball to left field.
It's a little bit like a Freddie Freeman. He'll have some base hits all the time, but it's to the outfield when he gets them.
Correct. So this is kind of like if you're watching Big League Baseball, the epitome of why they shift is because when they hit ground balls, it's predominantly on the ground. And for him, it's actually predominantly the first base where it's a dead pull situation.
Yeah, and Persh is a little bit off the line, too, even after he wrote one down the foul first spring. And it's a good pitch there by Schrader, getting Norton looking. And Norton did not like that call. Nonetheless, he is headed to the dugout. It's a big first out. But there's no break here in the lineup. Now Phil Messina coming to the plate. Phil is on the day. 2 for 3 with 2 doubles.
Yeah, that was a tough at-bat for Mike. He battled with a couple of foul balls. I don't think he liked the pitch I don't think he loved the pitch out.
Schrader definitely got the benefit of a call there. You can hear the Dunkirk side not liking that. But, good for Schrader going right back low again.
I would absolutely go right back to the same spot. If I'm going to get it, I'm going to see if I can get it twice.
Absolutely.
That's a veteran move.
And, it's interesting the strides you're going to take with Messina here. You do have a base open at first, but Javi's 3 for 3 behind him.
Correct.
But Messina, he's smiling at me. What a dork. But that's the credit of DeJesus putting the pressure on Coach Gullo here. Do I put him on or not?
Yeah, and going back to the previous game, his history against Schrader is he was 2 for 3 in that game.
Right.
Actually, I'm sorry, it was 2 for 2. A walk and 2 singles against Schrader in the first game that he threw. So he's had some success.
Absolutely. And I'm only going to say this because he can hear me right now. I take full credit for his hits because last year I yelled at him to go opposite field about 100 times last summer. He didn't hear me. I was hoping he would. I'm just kidding, of course. But did not get the call on the inside curveball. It's falling behind 3-1 now. And now especially, you're not giving in to Phil here. You're throwing your pitcher's pitch.
It's a little bit of pick your poison, though, because Phil definitely has got more of a doubles or a power potential here to do damage with a long fly ball or something. But in this case, you only need a single.
Right.
A single's going to score a run. So you don't want to get too fine.
With 2 strikes, a veteran hitter now, his goal is going to be put the ball and play hard, and he fouled that one off. Good cut there. Big pitch here, 3-2 count, 1 out. Ahlstrom at second base. And
Just a
Phil,
good waste of an
yes,
at-bat.
it was. You know, and that was a good outside corner knee-high fastball that Messina just wasted there. And really, the pressure is much more on Schrader, knowing cannot give up another run here.
Well, that's a tough play. It's going to get through. Ahlstrom had to hold, being a ground ball to the left side in front of him, make sure it got through. So he'll stay at third. That's another hit for Messina. And now again, Coach Jagoda's got some options. He's got speed at first base in Messina. I imagine he'll be running because I don't know that Coach Gullo can take a chance of making a play at second base.
Right, yeah, you send them all day. If you're Dunkirk, you're taking out for a run almost. And honestly, you know, we talked about Messina as a catcher. We talked about Van Dett as a catcher. And average, you know, not a little smaller, so he's a little bit more susceptible to give up the stolen base.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Phil go on first move here, and if you get picked off, you get picked off. He's staying. Just because, like you said, it'd take one heck of a play to make a play at second base and come back and get Ahlstrom at the plate.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
I don't know down by 3 that Fredonia even
I don't
takes
think
a chance.
you can throw it the second.
That's probably going to score. It's a fly ball. It could be down, actually. It is down. Ahlstrom will score on the play. Messina has to hold at second, given the fact that it was a tweener.
You know, and
It's another hit and another RBI for DeJesus. Another run scored for Ahlstrom, and 1 out, and men on first and second still for Dunkirk, looking to really extend. This is very similar formula to what happened in Fredonia the first outing.
Yeah, that's another well-placed, not the hardest hit ball, but no one could get to it. An RBI single.
Well, I mean, it's one of those where I don't know how much you can blame Fredonia in their positioning or their outfielders or where they're playing. That's the 4-hitter in the lineup with a little bit of pop in his bat. I'm not sure that you want to be playing in and giving something up over your head at this point.
Right, absolutely.
Another pitch at the bottom end of the zone here.
Well, he's definitely getting, you know, wasn't given that lower striker. We talked about
that ball's stroked. That ball's to the gap. It's going to get down and by Gullo. That's going to score Messina. Coach Jagoda waving around to Jesus. He's going to score.
Lockett's going to third.
Lockett's going to third with those long legs. He's going to be standing up with a triple.
Stand-up triple for Donovan Lockett. Line drive center field, and that was no bloop of a hit. No doubt right there. That was smoked, absolutely. Giving Dunkirk the 10-4 lead here in the bottom of the 6th.
And you're and not done if you're talking about it. You still only have 1 out with a man on third. Good speed at the plate, and Marszewicz is continuing to DH for Travis. You got good speed at third and Lockett. Though a little more non-traditional first to third speed than it is straight, steal a base speed with those long legs.
Yeah.
But Coach
could definitely see a little bunt delayed squeeze play here without a doubt. Try to get one more in. Why not?
And this is one of those where if Nick is able to push a ball to first base or something like that, it's kind of a hybrid bunt for a hit, bunt for the run scenario. Because he's another one. If he gets on base, there's ability to move him around without putting the ball in play.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a really balanced Dunkirk lineup that offers a lot of things from a lot of positions. More traditional than Fredonia 1-2-3. And then you get beyond that and you have people that can run, people that hit with power. There's a hard ground ball. Lockett's going. Fredonia's going to play back and concede the run. And now it's 11-4, and Nick Marszewicz drives in an insurance run.
Yeah, and you wonder, in that case, you almost have no choice, it seems like, to play up because you can't give up another run, but, they get out, and that might have been a hit. That might have bounced right over the shortstop if they're up. So it's not the most successful thing in the world to do, to bring up your infield. It really isn't.
Nick Satorski swings at the first pitch, drives it deep to right center, but that one's going to hang up for Gullo, who makes the play underneath it, and that ends the inning.
And he didn't miss that one by much either, because that was a towering fly ball. The shorter part of the field, we talk about deeper part in center field. It's not nearly as deep there in right center.
Dunkirk in the 6th, grabs 4 runs on 3 hits. They go to the top of the 7th, up 11-4 here at Al Stu Miller Field. We'll be back in a minute.
So here we go. Dunkirk up by 7, 11-4, going to the top of the 7th. Scott Krasinski in the mound looking to shut it down. Gabe Schrader at the plate. Gabe's 0 for 2 with a walk today and takes a ball.
Must have been just off the plate there.
Must be. Messina wanted it. Coach Lagoda wanted it.
Dunkirk faithful definitely wanted it behind us. I don't know if they can hear it on the broadcast. That's a high fly ball to left field. Norton appears to be settled underneath it, though I'm looking through the windscreen. Brings it in. That's out number 1.
And honestly, you know, you get that first pitch, you're down by 7. I don't know. You might want to take a strike there. That was an angry swing by Gabe, and he just missed it. Not going to lie. But that was an angry, hard swing by Gabe Schrader and fly ball to left field.
Got Davis up, who's 2 for 2 with a bunt single and a line drive to left. Takes ball 1. Really gives Scott some breathing room out there that last inning. And we talked about early in the game who was going to be the first one to throw up some zeros. And that's what Dunkirk has. They've thrown up, after the first inning, or after the 3rd inning actually, 3 straight zeros, and were able to put a couple of crooked numbers up themselves and extend the lead out and just keep building.
Yeah, and I mean, Dunkirk's earned this game. I mean, their bats have been swinging and hit a lot of hard hit balls this whole game. Fredonia tried to stay in it early with some dink and dunk scoring, and 3-0, another controversial call here, and you know, it easily could have been called a strike, but it's 3-0, and Dunkirk's really giving it to the umpire, and they're going to get less and less pitches the more they do that. Ball 4 for Davis.
He's had himself a nice day. On base every time, 4 out of 4 times.
Micah Davis hitting for the first time today.
Dunkirk playing everything back, keep the ball in front of them. First pitch is a strike to the younger Davis.
That's been one of Micah's nemesis this year. He's trying to sell in varsity. He's usually a pretty aggressive hitter, and he's definitely taken too many strikes this year, getting himself behind the count. Like I said,
It's 0-2. We got 2 in a row from Korzinski to Davis. And there's your proverbial 0-2 waste pitch, way up, way away. Korzinski gets the sign from Messina. There's strike 3 looking to be on the inner third. And now we've got 2 outs.
Bryson Kalasa pinch hitting for Owen Rush. Bryson, a senior. He's made some spot starts for Fredonia this year, some at third, some at first. He's got a couple hits on the year.
Ball up to Korzinski. He's going to call it, squeeze it, and that'll do it for the game. Dunkirk will close it out. A very pedestrian inning for Dunkirk in the 7th.
Yeah, you know, 1 walk to Davis, and that was it. And Scotty Korzinski really did a job coming in on the mound and settled down, and the bats kept going for Dunkirk, and they blew the game out. You know, definitely proved to be the better team tonight with this 11-4 win and back-to-back wins over Fredonia. And, you know, like you mentioned earlier, it's been a long, long time since Dunkirk's beat Fredonia 2 games in a row. And really 3 out of the last 4 if you want to go back to 2 years ago where Dunkirk-Fredonia split.
That is true. It brings, we'll take Fredonia to 3-5 in the league, 6-7 overall. Dunkirk to 10-3 overall and 7-1 in the league. Kind of gives Dunkirk firm control of the division. Really, I think the next closest team has 3 losses in the league, and yet to play each other one more time. So it sets up well down the stretch for Dunkirk. Let's take a look at.
Absolutely, for Dunkirk not to win the division at this point, it would take a small miracle. You and I talked about the Dunkirk-Fredonia softball game the other day. The teams are so close, and there's going to be some losses with the other team. So Dunkirk has really, you know, got a stronghold on the division championship, and hopefully, you know, they're going to be shooting for a high seed in sectionals this year. Yeah,
because it isn't even so much about is Dunkirk going to lose another game or 2 games or whatnot. I think it's likely at this level that there's going to be competitive games, and you might, you know, drop a game or 2 here and there. But the division is so competitive that it's going to be really tough for whether it be Olean or Southwestern or even Fredonia to make a run to run the table against all the other teams, just based on how close and evenly matched everybody is. Just kind of to summarize the game here, we had ended 11-4 for Dunkirk. Dunkirk 11 runs on 13 hits, given 2 errors. Fredonia 4 runs, 5 hits with an error. A couple of people to highlight throughout the day. We talked about it earlier, that top third really want to extend out to 4th and add Javi DeJesus in here. Alex Ahlstrom, 2 for 3, scored 3 runs, drove in another. Michael Norton, 1 for 3, scored 2 runs. Phil Messina, 3 for 4, scored 3 runs. Javier DeJesus, 4 for 4, scored 2 runs, drove in 3. And then you go into the timely hitting category where you got Donovan Lockett with a big triple, drove in 3 runs on the day. Nick Marsiewicz managed to drive in 2 without a hit. And really, it was just kind of a balanced attack as you went down through the order. You had Nick Zatorsky, who I would classify as battled through 3 1/3 innings. I don't think Nick would tell you he had his best stuff, but he battled, let up 2 earned runs, and then Scotty Korzinski came in and slammed the door for the second half of the game. And then really for Fredonia, we talked about it. Joey Vendette had a big game, had 2 hits. I think he had balls in the barrel the entire day. And Simon Davis had 2 hits, and Joey Gullo had a hit kind of to round it out. The issue for Fredonia was once you got past Davis in the order, you went a long time without somebody else that was getting on base and producing for Coach Gullo. So it was tough to string across an inning. Once Dunkirk, frankly, cleaned up their defense after the first couple innings where they were a little liberal with giving bases away.
We talked about, even if it was 4-4 Fredonia maintaining the way they were scoring was going to be very hard. Where Dunkirk scoring, well, Fredonia had one error, was they were putting the ball in the play. There wasn't even a lot of walks given up by the Fredonia pitchers. Dunkirk hit the ball and went out and earned this win. And really, if you looked at Dunkirk going into the season, this is how you expected them to win.
Expected them to hit the ball. I think they pitched better than we've expected.
Yes.
Hit as they've expected.
Exactly. This was the game you expected. You're going to have to, win a 10-11 game against Dunkirk, or pitch a heck of a game. And the Fredonia pitchers didn't pitch poorly. No. Dunkirk just hit the ball and ran the bases well. Your
point with the walks is one.
Yeah.
Fredonia surrendered one walk in the game. Owen Ludwig walked one person in the entire game, and Gabe Schrader didn't walk anybody. Michael Norton walked in the first inning, I think. So I believe the second batter of the game walked, and since then the Fredonia pitching staff made Dunkirk earn every base.
Yeah.
And to their credit, they did.
Right, absolutely. And that was the difference. This was a well-earned win by Dunkirk. They came off a disappointing loss. Yeah. And for Fredonia, that's the last thing you wanted to probably happen on Friday night was Dunkirk to have, 4 hits for the day?
Well,
in a 3-4-1 game, in questionable strike zone, from my understanding.
3-1 game, but this was the antithesis of that game there.
Absolutely.
Dunkirk hit a lot of balls at people hard.
Gotcha.
The turf played a role. We hit a lot of balls on the ground at people hard, which plays nice and smooth in Allegheny.
On the turf. Oh, yeah.
And then you come here today, and, balls, they had several balls well struck. Phil smoked a couple of balls. Alex's ball to center field was smoked. Nick Zatorski's balls.
One of those snake-bitten games.
But then you mix in a half a dozen maybe balls that where you couldn't take them. You couldn't throw outfield to your players stand on second base and throw balls better than where Dunkirk hit him there between outfielders. So it's one of those things where it levels out as it goes.
Absolutely. Well, that should do it here. Thanks to Dylan Murphy and Gabe. Did a great job for us, and thanks to Kory for asking me to join you today. It was a real pleasure. And for the record, there is 0 bloodshed, so we did all right.
It was a great day. Hopefully we'll get a chance to do this again before the season ends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Al. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, thank you.